Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot, it's the rock. And girl, you left my stomach in a knot. Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer, no, you just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this 5, 4, 3, 2. I deserve a minute, wait a minute. Gotta get up and over, regain my composure. No longer my lover, finally finished and you did it. Girl, you really showed me, think with your heart, don't think with your body, clever. Sorry not sorry, sorry not Justin Timberlake, write me a river. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You tried to convince me it was all in my head, and I felt like it's that you was me instead. Hey, I wanted to rock with you, roll with you. Said you was my baby girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna leave a picture. Off with somebody else, off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a... Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead.
I live for sure. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Greetings.
It is the last Tuesday in January, so therefore, cannabis got to be on top of the agenda tonight. And after that, we will move to the underwhelming performance that was displayed today, where they had the Premier's press conference. But before that, I'm Alan Powell, and this is the Topiks. Tonight, joining me, the star of the first hour is going to be Ras Iroy. I also have Banky Shabazz and Yason Tafari. Good evening, Banky. I know you will have an introduction, so say your greetings. I know you're going to have a greeting and a blessing, so say what you got to say. You good?
Yeah, man, everything good? Of course. And let me say good evening to the folks in Layamiga and Oli. Of course, you have to always bless it in the name of the ancestors. It's important so you can feel it running down to your spine. Also, the folks in the neighboring islands, St. Martin, Montserrat, the BVI, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the folks in the diaspora, wherever you're at, greatly appreciate you guys tuning in at the end of the month. Usually we do this link up with Alan and usually have a guest when it's needed and stuff like that. And we really appreciate you guys sticking with us over the years. And been a while we've been talking about cannabis. This year going to make almost 5 years. It's been a while, time flies so fast. So, and we still continue to, because it's a medicinal plant, and you have to encourage ones and ones to continue get into nurture and get involved in growing this plant along with food to eat also, because we can't just go herb and our plant food, you know. So definitely looking forward for the discussion. Good evening, this evening, and with Ras Iroy, Yason, and you, Alan.
Yason, good evening. You have a greeting for us, sir. I see you distracted. You have a greeting for us. You good?
Yeah, man.
I
No, not
hope.
distracted. Was just sharing
Listen.
the link and the live out, you know.
Oh, hey,
Give
listen.
thanks and praises.
Really and truly like how California got fire. Me say you look outside to make sure no fire come with you. You know? Yeah,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a late moment.
That's a good one, I tell you.
But yeah, where I am is very far away from the fire. I'm actually about 3 or 4 hours away from the fire in terms of driving distance. So, but I am to the people. I'm sorry. I send praise and condolences to the people suffering over there and dealing with that. It's really a tough time for them people, and that ends. But yeah, I give thanks to be here in another edition of the topics meeting, everything agriculture meet the topics. Another interesting edition of everything agriculture, the topics with the specific emphasis on cannabis. I always love this link up. So Oli, Amiga, people all over the region, all those who are logged in, feel free to share the live and make sure folks are logged in on another edition right here on a Tuesday evening to the Topics and Real Entertainment Network. Ras Iroy, look forward to the discussion. And yeah, let's get rolling.
Okay. No, wait there. Before I begin rolling, we got to introduce the guests properly. You understand? So, from my perspective now, you got certain people, right, who, regardless of the context, there is a local superstar. In my eye, you check it out, and local superstar means something. I like a Banky. Banky is a local superstar with regards
Where you
to
get that one
what
from?
No,
Really?
no. Listen, you could be a humble one too.
Hold on, let the
So
man continue.
if you want to be one of the humble local superstars, you could be that too. But I like
This is the next light moment again. Yes, son.
in the same way how like we attempt to name the Nevis complex after the original people who start Culturama because them they are local
Yes,
superstar. Yeah. And with regards to the Rastafari movement, from my perspective on the outside looking in, I see Irai has been strong in the movement. I see he has been strong in the cannabis movement, certainly. And
yeah, man.
Recently also I saw on social media, which we want to get to, I saw him making a social point. I don't necessarily think it was just about Rasta, although people might think it was just about Rasta, but I saw him doing some activism, and he has strong perspectives. You understand? So I want the people to know who we're dealing with when we're dealing with Ras Iroy, daughter of a budding politician as well. He all over the place. You understand? So welcome this evening, Ras Iroy. Good evening, Rastaman.
Yes, I
Iroy, your mic, your audio off right now. In the
But
clear,
yeah,
you're chopping up.
Rastaman, I come to be smooth, yes, so I be just want a little amperage on the mic.
Yeah, you hear me better?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, nice. They def me and all, boy. Strong. Yeah, but nice.
Yeah, man, I was just saying once divine name of the Superior Majesty, Right Selassie, and Queen, Spend, giving thanks to the opportunity.
The chopping up, right? The audio chopping up. The audio chopping up. There's a delay somewhere. It's chopping up. He ain't fluent.
I hear me better. Any better vibes?
I'm not sure. I mean, if it's the mic, if you use a mic, I guess I don't know if you need the mic, but it seems like there's a thing in the mic.
Basically,
Earlier when you started, it was when you first log in, it was clear and nice. But this time using something else different.
no, I was still earpiece. How about now?
Yeah, man, nice,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's it. You mute. You mute now.
Cammy, you sure? Are you
You're
mute
good
me?
now. Yeah. No, you're
I'm
good
saying
now,
up.
man. You're good now. You're mute.
All
You're
right,
good
all
now.
right,
Go
all
ahead.
right.
Nice.
What an introduction.
Yes.
I must be a superstar for real, man.
You
But
see?
yeah,
No,
looking
no, no.
forward
I
to
want
a
to
healthy
superstar thing,
discussion.
you see. Yes.
Looking forward to a real upful discussion, regarding some of the issues that we have surrounding I. I'll be happy to share all that I know and all I can share at this point in time. And hopefully we could have a discussion how we can set ourselves for what seems to be the upcoming cannabis industry. But giving thanks and looking forward for all vibes.
Okay. Well, and you see, I even forgot that the Rasta man has been so strong in the cannabis movement that he is also on the cannabis board, and we are very interested in the cannabis board because this is actually an arm that I look at as what is gonna be implementing the policies with regards to cannabis.
Can I
Rastaman,
can I
go ahead.
I need to step away for 1 second.
Okay.
No problem. All right. Cool.
I need to say something for 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Listen,
Get powerful.
in that event, we could kind of talk about one of the political circumstances that I heard today. I want to hear what I got to say. I feel like politics is local.
I
What? Rastaman, you reach fast, man. Me tell you, been
Man
over
say
far.
1 second. Man say
Okay.
1 second. 1,001.
Okay, well, that being the case, I gonna start off with what I feel like might be a simple question for you, but why? What do you feel could be your impact on the cannabis board, and what do you think is your main? What do you think is your main agenda? Nevis or Rastafari? Speak to me.
Yeah, man. Where I think I could have an impact on the cannabis board. See, the board is comprised of quite a wide variety of stakeholders. I think it's about 7 or 8 representatives from government ministries, and then there's maybe another 7 or so from civil society. And so the board is comprised of, people in the medical field, customs, police, um, business, finance. So quite a vast section. But to me, an integral part of the board is the Rastafari representation. Because you see, a lot of people don't don't see the herb as I see it. And as Yasan always say, a lot of people can't think about the smoke. And at times you really need persons with the knowledge of the herb inside out to really, help guide and steer certain things. For example, when we were talking to the past administration, we were discussing amounts, what amount we should have and be able to move around. I think 15 grams was somewhere stuck in the old legislation. But then the OIU, the Organization of Rastafarian Unity, we were pushing for 4 ounces. And the Attorney General, he laughed. He said, man, you guys want to be selling. And he said, man, 15 grams is enough. How much can you smoke at a time? And so you realize their focus was just on the smoking. But even in the context of the smoking, we had to advise them and educate them that different people use the herb in different ways. You know, if you're a smoker, then, spliff every now and again is fine. But some people don't smoke spliff. Some people use a chalice. Some people don't smoke at all. Some people cook with it. Some people use the oil. And so you see, depending on how you use it, you require different amounts. Um,
Well,
the rest of the board, they have not,
well, I
I was
want to
saying the
ask you
rest
a
of the board
question.
have not really. Go ahead,
Well,
go ahead.
I wanted to ask you a question with regards to the 15 grams, which I think has gone up to 56. My understanding of what is taking place, because I wanted to stay away from that, but if you want to go in, I would welcome it. No. My understanding that is the Dangerous Drugs Act, which speaks to the 56 grams. That is what was amended to speak to that. Now, my understanding of the board that you are a member of is with regards to medicinal cannabis and how it could be used in those regards. So, is the medicinal board having an impact with regards to legislation outside of medicinal cannabis?
No. The medicinal,
Okay.
the authority is working within the boundaries of the act as it is now. It is not a body that would necessarily go there to change the act. What happened though, if there are issues within the act that in the authority executing the duties, we have conflicts and that kind of thing, then the authority will make recommendations to the cabinet, through the minister, to the cabinet, about any necessary recommendations, changes or whatever. But the act is there. I can tell you though, which a lot of us know, there's still a lot of what we call gray areas within the act that still need some straightening out. And as we go through meetings day by day, there some of things that just keep popping up. And
So
so there are things that still need to be
as
amended.
you mentioned meetings, are the meetings of the board frequent?
Yes, the board meet. We schedule to meet monthly, but we do meet more often, especially in these initial stages where lots of work still need to be done. Um, I would say sometimes twice a month. We've been meeting. Work's been done. It's been pretty slow on certain ends, but I would say pretty soon, by middle of the year or so. I don't want to give too much information that hasn't reached public yet, but I mean the way things are looking, and I think how much longer can you hold the public, in suspense, so by the middle of the year we should be ready to do things. I can tell you though, there's supposed to be an official well, I won't say a press release, but the minister and another representative supposed to be doing something on freedom, I think, on issues tomorrow. So they would
Okay.
be able to give some exact, dates and as we call deadlines and so on to the
Oh,
general public.
okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned certain things. 'Cause when you say ready to do things, I'm keenly aware of a lot of parts of this legislation. So when you say ready to do things, you mean that there is gonna be something in place where people could start to apply for licenses and these type of things?
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Um, have the office already staffed. I think the process of hiring and so on is ongoing right now. So I would say once the office is properly staffed, the legislation is there, the fees and all of that has been established already. Um, and so it's just a matter of making public aware. We always been agitating for public education, keeping the public aware as to what's happening. 'Cause just like you mentioned, it's been a lot of years, and if there's an issue, then the public, should know what's going on, why we're holding back. But I think Minister will be able to explain quite a bit tomorrow. But as we are now, I mean, I see applications, people already calling, members getting personal calls, what's happening, but the official thing still have to come from the authority itself. Members can only gather names and direct people as to what the process is going to be like. Um, the office, as it is located, uh, Richard Keynes building in SK, the embassy there, in the bottom
Mm.
floor. That is going to be the actual, the meeting, the office space where, as we say, all the action going to be taking place, the applications and so on. One of my concerns, though, is Nevis. Where does Nevis fit in?
So
And
is Nevis gonna have an office?
well, that is the question, because we are aware that Nevis has autonomy in its agriculture and I think education, and so
And
I mean
health
the laws and
and
everything
and
and
health as
health.
well.
Yeah, I mean they're federal laws, So if there's a cannabis law for the federation, it should apply to St. Nevis. As to how Nevis is going to roll out its part, I mean, why do we have to go over to St. Kitts for application? I don't think that is going to be the case. But strange enough, I happen to be the only Nevision, stand to be corrected, and the committee. I think my pick was not because I'm a Nevision. I think it was because of my involvement in the national Rastafari community as chair, and the agitation, both in St. Nevis. One of my earlier recommendations came through to the Premier Brantley as well, in former administration. So, but as to how it's going to play out in Nevis is something that still has to be ironed out. Um, the ORU, we are seeking an audience with the Nevis Island administration really to get a better insight as to what's happening. I would like to see with my sub office in Nevis.
Before you move on, you say you are seeking an audience. Has the NIA been responsive when you have sought this audience with them to speak to them?
Um, in the past, no. We've been trying to get that over the past couple of years. We have had some
Yes.
individual conversation. Yeah, this is before before the first, um, before the government would have changed. When Unity was around, we would have met with cabinet, some politicians over there, ministers over there, and so we always try to do likewise in Nevis, and we would have asked to meet, and we were not successful. I think, we have decided, not I think, we have decided in our last OIU meeting that we're gonna ask for another audience again, and being specific, dealing with the cannabis and the other issues, the one we spoke about earlier. General things as to what is happening in Nevis that I see we have some issues with, and offer some suggestions and help. But uh, hopefully we get some response this time. We're gonna humbly ask for it, and if we have to demand, we will demand. But I think it's time that NIA say exactly what's happening when it comes to how the cannabis is gonna be rolled out in it.
And I would also, in helping you to advocate for an office in Nevis, it would also help for there to be somewhere to liaise with the government. And if you have an unresponsive government, for you to have a base of operation in Nevis to liaise with the people, and to have a base of operation in Nevis at the same time, because it make no sense for you to just be in Nevis and you basically be the Nevis board, the Nevis aspect of the board. You also need, as you said, some kind of, maybe a subcommittee or something in Nevis actively working with the public itself when you have an unresponsive government. Gentlemen, y'all have any questions?
Yes. With the cannabis part, but isn't the Minister of Agriculture in both St. Kitts Nevis, the PS, both PS should have some kind of collaboration with directors and stuff like that, know what's going on as one entity card. Both Department of Agriculture, they tend to partner when it comes to different programs and stuff like that. But is in as you said, Nevis have their own autonomy. The term, I guess, or they want to take their own thing, because St. Kitts Minister of Agriculture full speed. You see what I mean? Engage the PS. Everyone seems to be involved, but in the Nevis end, not every director or the PS or the minister would speak on cannabis. So, I mean, we seem to find it strange why St. Kitts, the Premier himself, will speak on cannabis and would seem like he's for it, but at the same time, his minister. Well, right now, I mean, I have the Premier to be the Minister of Agriculture. That's why I'm representing. That's who my Minister of Agriculture be for now. I ain't about anybody else, but that's why everything when it comes to agriculture, I'm dedicated to the Premier himself, because he's the one who seems to speak on agriculture the most, and especially cannabis. So but people still asking question. I mean, what is Nevis doing? And you yourself just mentioned you have a concern with what Nevis doing. So it seems like the whole island have a concern what Nevis dealing with on a whole. So that is one concern I have for now. And as we go, we continue on bringing. But and the next thing is there anybody gonna miss anyone on the board with you all?
We do have past members of the agriculture department
Okay.
who work in agriculture.
Okay.
Would have that level of experience and academic experience as well.
All right.
So,
Yes, son.
I am just first up kind of intrigued by a lot of what I'm hearing here from Ira, and when I listen to first up Ira's presentation, one of the things that sticks out is the fact that even though we initially probably would have thought that in the selection of the board that Ira would have been the representative, the only representative for Nevis, so to speak. In his explanation just a while ago, that is technically not necessarily the case. It just seems as if that his selection was more on other grounds per se than
Yes.
necessarily the fact that he is a Nevisian. It's just that he happens to be from Nevis.
Of course.
And that in itself is very scary. And I guess that is why he's in the position that he's in as well, because his representation on the board is not necessarily a representation for Nevis. So now he's
Yes.
seeking an audience with the Nevis side that is not, that at present still have no representation on the board, and we're not hearing anything from the Minister of Agriculture and or anybody in Nevis that has anything at all to do with cannabis. So we are really in a challenging position. Seeing that this is something that you have identified, Ras Iroy, and we are now, well, for us now, I guess, fully getting a better understanding of that. What can you do in terms of seeking to maybe it's too late now that the board has already been set without any consideration for divisions, and or how could we get the involvement from the minister from Nevis to really help to agitate for Nevis's representation? Because at the end of the day, as Alan asked about the office and so on, these are things that would be expected, because we would be expected to have an
Which minister that you talk about? Who minister you mean, your son?
the Minister of Agriculture for Nevis.
He ever speak on cannabis?
Cannabis, no.
So you gonna start cannabis now?
But with this happening now, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we have a board. We have a board now. We're seeking to do something, and the implication for this does not just. It's not just about St. Kitts.
Yes, son, let us remember that Iroy is a star, and we're not gonna have Iroy every month then. So make sure you're getting your question to Iroy. You see how when maybe not talk to Iroy just we not port information. You will juggle a while, drag out some information. Go ahead.
So that's what I'm doing. So go ahead, Iroy.
Yeah, you see, I still represent Nevis, because technically, what we would be expecting is, where do we go? Obviously, there might be some lands to be allocated to people who are interested in the industry but don't have land. So these are things that directly the Nevis Island administration will have to make decisions on. I mean, because you could go over to St. Kitts and register, you get a license, register, and you got your own land space home, and you do your own thing. But there are gonna be some specific areas where the Nevis Island administration has to come in. I mean, there are a lot of businesses that would be set up here in St. Kitts Nevis. Businesses would be set up in Nevis, and so the necessary, regulations would apply. There are inspectors, people who would be checking the ganja farms, checking for best practices and things like that. And you must have a team from Nevis doing that. You can't just have a team from St. Kitts coming over dealing with St. Kitts farms and Nevis farms. So these are things I expect to be put in place. Maybe I expect them to be put in place a lot sooner, but I think they should be put in place now.
So I guess right now, basically, based on that response, that the divisions now are going to be having to hold you accountable for whatever happens for Nevis in terms of agitating for what is going to happen for Nevis.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Now, here's my thing that I'm gonna give the Rastaman, as I love this Rastaman. Okay, first of all, let me just say how wonderful a job the Rastaman doing. Rastaman, you could be a spokesman for the board. Rastaman give me clarity. Rastaman give me transparency. Rastaman give me accountability. Rastaman still include in the thing. We dragging with foot. Rastaman is aware that this thing has been taking long. And Rastaman is aware that the people want to know. And the Rastaman is telling me what he could tell me. With regards to the Nevis end, I think that what the board could do and what the Rastaman is saying that they've been doing is simply reaching out a hand extending a hand. Just hold. All Nevis got to do is hold them hand. All they got to do is hold it. If they, just like a hold, they just hold the Taiwanese hand. Hold Abby hand too. And just listen to Abby. Only a conversation they want to have. And that's why I say, if they are gonna be unresponsive, there needs to be a mechanism, there needs to be a home base in Nevis for the Cannabis Commission so that they could still do the work if there is an unresponsive government. What me really want to see in a Nevis is a true federal system. Because, for example, say in America, say the state of Florida decide, well, we not going to go the way them say. That not going to stop the federal government from coming in and having a structure in place and dealing with the people what they got to deal with, and vice versa.
Right.
Because look, you see in Donald Trump say, you got to do this. The state of Chicago come over and say, hey, if you come here, I got to do the entrepreneurs with them ice people there. That they not going to work out in Chicago, you know. So it needs to be a situation where if they could work together, fine. But this is a federal thing. To me now, the shoe pass to the government now to where what we need is actually somebody at one of these press conferences to remember he got something in cannabis and ask the premier. Well, Mr. Premier, I listened to the topics last month, and they say that they've been reaching out to you and there's no answer. So what's taking place? What is your position? Call the people and them. They are available. So to me, the board is doing what they need to do. Cause there needs to be some kind of buy-in from the NIA in order for this thing to go forward. And if aimed by the NIA, then you have to go directly to the people so that the people and them harass, in my estimation.
I if I can, what is of greater importance to me really is the readiness of the people. And I tell you why I say this. I mean, Jamaica made a move. Maybe it was Jamaica probably kind of jumped the gun. St. Vincent, Antigua made a move. St. Vincent made a move. And we have seen the little setbacks in the different models. CARICOM had initiated a report, a commission, have a CARICOM commission to go around and really think about, suggest how we're going to move this cannabis thing through the region. But what we're seeing is individual governments doing their own little thing. And you find Jamaica still different to Antigua, still different to St. Vincent. You know, I think we probably need to step back and look at what model is really, really working for us, or what would really work for us. But what I would advise ones and ones to do though is strengthen the collective. I think we should be prepared to go into this industry as a collective through cooperatives as opposed to individual farmers. If for some reason as an individual farmer you can afford, because you know, I mean, I think Nevis lightning fees still beat the other region, so the islands in the other region. But as an individual, it's still gonna cost some money, even with the various privileges that you know supposed to be afforded to Rastafari and locals and so on. It still costs a lot of money if you want to do more than cultivation. And I'm saying this is an opportune time for I and I to come and deal with it as a collective. I remember in the early stages, I saw how St. Vincent was moving. And St. Vincent was able to approach the government and say, listen, the couple hundreds of us we are traditional ganja farmers. Our families have been farming ganja for generations. That's all we know. They farm themselves into an association, and so the government really had to look at them and say, "Hey, this is a group of people that we have to include at our level." Now, when I tried that in Nevis, enough man decided, well, boy, maybe I working with the police and they want police know that they planting ganja. And so there was the hesitation. And if we don't fix it, it would cost us. In that, I think it is easier for I and I to get the various licenses as a collective. Now, the ORU, the Organization of Rastafari Unity, basically has set up itself for that type of operation. Because remember, we put in a case to government to get free license and so on. We don't know what and how much or what we're gonna get as yet, but something has to be coming forth. And instead of the Rastafari community alone being able to enjoy certain things, other groups must come as a collective or come on board with the ORU. I think that would help. That would help the small man who could only afford a license to grow. That we sort of give him a market,
Somebody phone a
you
ringing.
know, that we
Right,
sort
right,
of
right.
give the poor man, the traditional man, a market for some of his produce. What happened was that in St. Vincent, for example, people who were farming were given cultivation license, and of course a lot of people cultivate it. But then that's you can cultivate, cure it, and pack it. But you're not able to juggle, you're not able to dispense it unless you have a license for that, which a lot of people couldn't afford. So what one of the things St. Vincent did was say, hey, any foreign company, you must purchase at least a 10% of your product from the local cultivators. So that was a step in providing a sort of sure market. So I think we need to think along them lines as ganja growers and users. How we gonna get past the hurdle to make some money off the ganja and not be stuck up just having a cultivator's license.
Okay. So now you bring to me, because I wanted to talk to you about this too. No? I wanted to talk to you about a broader discussion. I feel like the cannabis legislation in St. Kitts and Nevis is stupid. And I say that because there's the Dangerous Drugs Act, there is the Cannabis Medicinal Act, there's the Cannabis Freedom of Conscience Act, and then he got another act again what deal with cannabis again. So now,
Mhm.
cannabis is dealt with under these three acts. There is a license that you could apply for under the Freedom of Conscience Act and be good to go with cannabis. But even under the Dangerous Drug Act, you don't need no license, no do nothing, as long as it's less than 56. So, overall, I think that the legislators are weaving a web of nonsense. I feel like they're supposed to be a medicinal one for that, and they're supposed to be a recreational one. And the recreational one supposed to be different than the medicinal. Even the standards, everything supposed to be different. The medicinal one is up to a particular standard. You want a particular grade because we're looking. Sometimes you're even looking for higher CDB counts than THC counts when you're looking for the medicinal. It depends on what particular ailment you are trying to treat at the particular moment in time. But for the recreational one, I feel like that is the avenue whereby the government would have a lot of scope to give back to the regular man by saying, we're gonna have standards. You can spray on any kind of chopping this on top of your tree and go get people go smoke that. But it's not gonna be as strict as the medicinal. And I feel like certain things like them there, as you say, could have make it possible for you to juggle recreationally and let the medicinal field be the medicinal field, in my
You know,
estimation.
it's interesting you say that because what I think is happening, right? You see, they're not pushing anything about recreational. They're not saying, they didn't call in the name.
Oh,
Simply
only
because
me do it.
America,
It's only me.
America doesn't recognize it. Technically, federally, they're saying medicinal, scientific research,
Indeed.
them are the kind of things that they're pushing. The Sankofa case really is what opened up the right to privacy, which technically is the
Indeed.
recreational part,
Indeed.
you know.
Indeed.
But they
Indeed.
now don't want to call it recreation because they don't want to have to ruffle shoulders with the International Narcotics Council. So it's a lot of these guys, I think, is in the legislation. So it's creating loopholes, you know.
I and
I mean, you
and
know how it
I
stand from day one, free up the
and
thing like the lettuce and the tomato.
and, and I also feel like the intention, although it is being framed as something to liberate Rastaman and to commemorate Rasta, I feel like the legislation really, at the end of the day, gone back seeing Rasta.
Well, you see that.
Because,
Go ahead.
okay, when you watch a Christianity is all over the place. Christians have the sacrament. Nobody I deny Christian the sacrament at no point in time. So ain't even supposed to be a debate. Rasta is a religion. Rasta sacrament is herb. Boom, we done. Huh? The conversation done. We're not supposed to get nothing else to talk about. It's a
Yeah, you
different
can
Totally
say that.
agree with
sacrament,
you.
but it's dated.
Totally agree with you,
Yeah.
eh?
But
It's really
when we gonna have legislation to say and this and then you got to have a license to do this, but Rasta gonna be exempt from the race from the license if they are a member of a tribe or recognize this and all them thing that I tell you is meant to really backseat anything. It's not supposed to be that complicated. That is Rasta sacrament. Rasta is a religion. We recognize it as a religion. Boom, there we go. Conversation done. The
whether
Rasta
you're
do the thing.
individual or you're part of group. That is how it's supposed to run. Because the
And
Sankofa case forced
and
cabinet to recognize Rasta at that level.
and as you rightfully say, because this is the next thing I want to tell people. The extension of the Sankofa case was the privacy aspect. Because this now tell you, boy, you could be in your place, bald head, Rasta, Hindu, Muslim. Once you're in your place, you're good. You're good, sir.
Yes.
If it's cocaine, you're bad. If it's cannabis, you're good. This is not a long conversation. You're good or you're bad. And the man say you're good.
Yes,
Rasta.
yes.
Well, anybody else have anything on cannabis? Because I also wanted to get to the Rasta social cause. I wanted to hear about what was taking place there. But so
Yeah,
if
the
anybody
part
else
that,
have
that
anything, go ahead.
yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
privacy part. Well, here when it comes to the privacy part, which mean then, if in the privacy, you should have any amount of herb in your possession, any amount of trees. Can up to now there's nothing been put it legislated to say well you can have 1 tree, 2 tree, 4 tree, but yet you could have 56 grams. You see what I mean? So
Listen,
these are things.
that are the place where the tie-up coming. Because
Yes,
what the judge said is, I cannot tell you what to do, but I'm
of
telling you what
course.
you have currently is unconstitutional.
Yes.
So you could regulate it however you want, or choose not to regulate it.
Mm-hmm.
But what you got right now, you can't.
Of course.
What the judge say? Because basically what the law say is you can't get none at all. And the judge said the law can't be that you can't get no cannabis. The law can't be that you can't get none. It got to be
Yes.
it got to be some kind of amount. Me can't tell you what the amount gonna be, but it got to be something. And when they're home, you can't trouble them. The problem is when you're really looking at this thing, when they're talking about, everybody does say, how much tree you could get by your place. As soon as you come into how much tree, the amount part is always going out the door.
Yes.
Because one person who got 33 and the next man got 33, and the man there with the 33 can't reach the man with the 3. So as soon as you come into the amount part, you could tell the amount will never match up to the trees. And the trees will never match up to the amount. So you can't write them down like that. So. But you can't write them so unless you know what you're talking about. If you feel like you know what you're talking about, or you just a copy and paste from somewhere, you gonna just write that. And you gonna feel like, boy, me I write this here good. People gonna be able to follow this here, people gonna understand this here. You can't write 5 trees and then tell me the maximum is 56 grams from 5 trees. Boy, you got people that you got people that double that in one.
But the 56 grams is in public. But the 56 grams is in public. But the 56 grams is in public, right? It's not in the privacy. Is in public. Is when you're on the street.
The 56 grams speaks to what you can have on your person at any given time. It has nothing to do with what you have in your home and what you can go at home. The problem I think that came in, Alan, is when the farmer administration spoke to a 5 trees, which was not gazetted, and I guess that is where people start saying, bringing this 5 tree issue into the conversation. But according to the ruling from the Sankofa case, there was nothing in place constitutionally to say how much you could have. As you are pointing out, Alan, the judge did say though that is what the Constitution have at present. You all need to do. If it's anything, I can't tell you all what to do, but you all need to do something. But at this point, they have not said anything in regards to that aspect. There's nothing that has changed what the Constitution has said in regards to whatever it is that the judge said that you should have adjustment to. So at this point, the only thing that is clear is that you could have 56 grams on your person. But in regards to how much trees you could have in your place and all that, that is still, to me, from my understanding up in the air.
Based off of what you tell me, the answer is $1 million. How much ever you could fit by your land? Because if you tell me with clarity that the thing is 56 when you step off and you're going in the traffic, then when you're home, you could be Pablo. You could be Pablo.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
When you is Pablo,
that's the whole point.
Well, that's what I
we all agree on that.
Yes,
we all agree on that.
I think
in up in the ear. We not up in the ear. We write down on the ground.
I rise on the boat. I rise on the boat. So let's hear I rise interpretation and position.
Yes.
The way I interpret that, listen, I think the 56 speaks to what you could have on your person, in your privacy. You're really not supposed to have it in public. You're not supposed to have it.
When you think it's
what you can have, what you can have in your house, on your property, that's the 56 grams at a time. You're really not supposed to have it in public. But if you have your 56 grams in public and not using it in public, then there seems to be that leeway where you can't be prosecuted. If you have more than the 56 grams in public, then the charges and all them things can apply. If you're using it in public, the charges can apply. That is how I interpret. The 56 grams is basically what you have in person at your home. You could have your 56 grams, use it up and have another 56 grams and use it up. But in terms of the amount, 56 grams per person.
So
One of the other confusion with that is the trees that the 56 grams is per person, your personal right. When they came with the 5 trees, they were talking about per household, which really doesn't make sense because this is a personal right we're talking about. You can't just take my personal right and spread it across the household and so that Yason and Banky who live with me can have their own personal amount of trees. So that in itself was confusion. But I really don't see how that could really be policed. But I remember the Sankofa case where the judge technically made a kind of U-turn. He basically tell them, hey, as Powell explained, your drug act is unconstitutional. Go and fix it. But in that you must have discussions with various stakeholders and so on to come up with things like amounts and so on, and so it still gave the government that authority to have these things like this, 5 trees and them kind of thing. So again, I say, the act would still be up for revision and discussion and challenge, which I think is where we have to stay on top of it and make sure those necessary changes are made.
Yes, son. I just read it again. It say regardless of if you're home, you're on the road, the maximum you're supposed to get is 56. If the man got you with anything more than that, the man charging you.
Yeah. So the question
some serious
is,
fine too.
That's
so the question is, so when they don't go me through them that over 12 feet, what's supposed to do is throw them away? Take off 2 grams, 56 grams off of one tree and the rest of them no good then. We're going to do it then.
That one. My biggest point was, as long as you tell me an amount, it's hard when it comes to the amount of trees. Because that's where you really a limit. You're limiting potential.
So it's obviously that the people who putting our laws in place and stuff like that have no ideas about cannabis and growing of the crop and what the crop produces. These are just personal views. That is yes.
The way how you got to solve it, you is a married man, so you say half of your wife one.
Well,
so boom, you reach out. Yes. So see a you do a quarter.
Me not go to that. No, me not with the one day. Me not defend the one day. Me want my own thing.
But everybody's supposed to have their amount.
None of that.
When they smoke on that,
free up the herb. All 100% free up the herb. 100% legalize the herb. That's what me defend.
I am grateful for this clarification here because, from my understanding, I was thinking that the 56 grams was for you and your person. But from my understanding, it's just like what you could have on you on the street, even though you cannot use it. But if, for example, when you say on you, because if you're not growing it, for example, and you probably went to get it from wherever you're getting it from, and in the pursuit of traveling from one place to the other, and they meet it on you, and you have 56 grams, then you that is what you could have on you. From my understanding, in terms of the home issue, the privacy issue, you could have had as much as you want in your place.
Yeah, as long as you reach to 56. Anything over 56 illegal.
This is where the light comes in.
Real comedy.
So
Brethren, this is where now, sorry to interrupt, but this is where that freedom of conscience, where they speak about, as a Rastafari, you can have a license. This is where now this license now would allow you to have more than the 56.
I'm gonna find that one there. That one there on my phone.
but in order
Yes.
to do that now, and this is where another complication comes in now, because now in order for you to benefit from that, even though you're Rastafari, you have to seemingly be a part of some organization, some religious organization, because
Or have a license to go it.
So
how
One
why
of
would
the
I need
things
a
that we
license?
brought forward, right? We were saying
Yes.
that we
Wait,
don't
Rasta.
understand this thing about the license.
This license don't solve your problem. This license allow you to have possession of 56 grams or less. Yeah, in public places, and it allow you to smoke in designated smoking areas, and nobody could trouble you. But the limit is always that magical 56. They consistent
Okay.
with that.
If
Yeah.
the system,
Only for the sacramental herb and your churchical grounds and your grounds that where you worship as Rastafari group. That's your churchical grounds. You don't have any limit.
y-
But the
but
restriction
wait,
is it cannot be sold.
but all
and
You
right,
can go any
guys.
amount to your
and
congregation.
I have another
What?
addition with regards to the
Uh-huh.
5 trees. This is the legislation we got in the 5 trees. It say you could apply for a license to cultivate 5 or less cannabis plants in a secured area in your yard. So this year got in 5 trees. But make
Brethren,
sure that
them man
when you
pass
got your five,
Allah
make sure that the
and
5 trees
say,
only got 11 grams each.
anyway,
Can you see?
didn't
Yeah, see what has
them
happened.
man pass?
If they had a
All
law,
right.
if they had a law that if they had allow you to just grow it without a license, it would be saying that recreationally it's also free for recreation in St. Kitts Nevis. And then boy upset gonna hit them hard. So technically it is still recreational, but they're saying you have to have a license. Because we asked them, well, is that a license where you could be denied? Because technically that is our right. We don't have to have no license to enjoy our right like that. So we can't give the power to no politicians to decide whether or not I give Yason a license. So if you give Yason a license, what? Yason can't have his cannabis at home? That is contradictory to the judgment. That's how we see it, and
So
that is
if
how we stand in as
I,
Rastafari.
yeah,
I have the 3 circumstances in which it could be denied, but it
okay.
could be
So
denied. You better
if
believe.
the plant is non poisonous, so why you need license for all this thing at home, and why you only could have if it's a non poisonous plant? Can is them say so, right? They put a legislation says it's a non poisonous plant, right?
Banky lad,
Just
man.
like
Don't
Stotap, don't
Banky
want.
lad, man. No,
Mr.
look, I don't
When
explain the thing to you. If them man do what they got to do, they gonna get punched from the people up here, so up by
what they have to do
me.
with me? But what they have to do with me?
What I got
No,
to
they
do
have
with
to come.
you?
It's always
Which part you
have
gonna get
to
the
come
punch
forth.
from?
Virgin,
Yeah,
you're going to say
The-
but
something is non-poisonous, right? But yet, you still want to tell me have to apply. So, do I need a lesson to go banana and soursop and sugar cane and kinip
no,
and all the things that are on
no,
my farm? So why do
no.
I, and it's and then non-poisonous just like the cannabis, right? That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
They should be in this. Is it in the same area as all these are medicinal plants? So why
For the
the cannabis then have all these things? I'm trying to understand. If it's not all of it is non-poisonous, what's the difference?
what's
the
the
reality is,
difference?
Banky, the
Man.
Huh?
reality is, at the end of the day, Banky,
Uh-huh.
we function in a global system, and the system that we function in recognizes still that cannabis is a Schedule 1 drug. It is still documented, and St. Kitts and Nevis happen to fit into the scheme of all of these different organizations. So as much as we would want to do certain things freely, there's still that restriction because you have international agreements that you have to sign on to. So, for example, I think that is the
Well,
reason and the rationale behind pushing the medicinal side, which personally I don't agree on the medicinal cannabis, but I understand why they want to take it from the medicinal approach and not pushing that same recreational agenda, Alan. So what they're seeking
But
to
yes, and
do
you know,
is through the medicinal, still give leeway to do certain things recreational and maybe even religious, with the hope still that
no. I kill the thing. Let me let you know what going on, right? Right now, them
mhm,
man got the baby, but them man
mhm.
wants trying to split the baby. Them man want everybody get peace. You understand? So in like they just want to make one money off of cannabis. Them man work out by what? We could make money off of freedom. We could sell conscious cannabis. We could sell medicinal cannabis. Them man gonna get around to the recreational, you know? But that are
Yeah.
when them that are when them realize that are what everybody use that are what some people use the medicinal and the conscious for. That are when they gonna get around to it. I see it happening in other places, you know? You got other places start
Yeah.
off and then say we only gonna do medicinal and this that, and you know what will happen? Everybody back start to hurt them.
Recreational,
And then
yes.
if your back now hurt you, your belly hurt you, you have got headache, you can't sleep at night time, you sleep too much at night time. All kind of thing happen to you. Who get you on the system?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, them man gonna get to it. But is whether it's gonna be by will or by force, in my
Yeah.
estimation. Where's I
You
about
know
the
what's
cannabis?
interesting?
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
I right.
No, no. And I
So
was saying it was
the
interesting because the Attorney General raised it in the
mhm.
court and tell the judge, well, you know, we are attached to all these international day, and we can't. And the judge tell him, listen, your constitution is king of your land. That comes first. You're obligated to your constitution and your people first. You're not obligated before you could talk about obligation to international relations, but who government is going to make that bold move? That's like political suicide, you know. So we got to learn how to milk them and get as much as we can. I mean, we're never satisfied with that, but we must get as much as we can out of this, you know.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll ask Ganja question and then I'll be moving us in a different motion. I got it. Yes, I got.
So I what is in place for when it comes to training and awareness for those who have any aspiration in getting involved in the cannabis industry and stuff like that. How is these things going to be rolling out when and stuff like that? And when it comes to the pesticides boards and stuff like that, and once you're going to have these kind of industries, you're going to have all kind of different companies coming in and all kind of different new chemicals coming in. Even you have farming doing even crop farming right now, we still have glyphosate, and I know people using Roundup just to plant regular vegetables, just to plant cannabis the same way, use Gramaxone and all this stuff, and still plant afterwards. I mean, so safety is always key, whether it's food or anything that goes into the body. How are these things going
Yeah,
to be policed, and how if I mean it's a lot. Is guy going off crops, is you going to be pests, you going to get disease, you going to get fungus, get all the different kind of stuff. So is the good practices and all this stuff. So it's a lot. I'm not sure you all have a big task. Cause just dealing with vegetables and as an extension officer in the past dealing with farmers and all the kind of stuff that is used around here. It's very scary when it comes to the herb and the next hole, because it's going to be more chemicals again and all these things. So how you all plan on doing these things and stuff like that?
well, I would tell you, I'm a part of the board, And the board basically creates the authority. And the authority is the one that does the day-to-day operation of the cannabis business. So, with the CEO and your inspectors, your people who go and check for quality, these are the people who are going to be taking care of them tasks. I can tell you though, even for local consumption, safety must become an issue. Our Bureau of Standards, the lab there is pretty much limited, but I think they too would recognize what they need to do in terms of machinery and training, to step up to meet their requirements. But research, testing facilities, and so on, all of these things are things that you could have licenses for. So we might have people out there who have these companies already set up, come in and want to do business, have testing facilities. Now, as you say, it depends on what we are looking for. And I also feel like it's very important that we set our standards, not too low to allow for any and everything, but we mustn't set our standards to keep out, the day-to-day farmer, the man who goes outdoors and so on. What you would have though is, depending on who you're selling to, they might have stricter standards. So depends on what market you need to go into, how you have to grow your stuff. But yeah, that's basically how I see things like these gonna be taken care of. The monitoring sample is gonna be tested. If you're gonna be selling anything or making products, your samples are gonna be tested to see if chemicals and so on, residues and so on.
Yeah, son.
But yeah, yeah, son, is your time to ask your cannabis question if you have any, sir.
Well, I guess the engagement we would have gotten through a lot of different issues. I guess it would have been clarified for me. I, I, yeah, I think we could just move on into the next area. In terms of the protest, the here protest and things like that.
So I did see the protests, but I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything. So give me an understanding of basically what is your gripe? What is the situation?
Yes, it is not really a new topic, but there was a meditation in the morning, and a few things that sort of spurred the whole protest. I gave a few youths a ride to school. So listening to them in the back, I overheard some conversation and they're talking about here. And then they're telling me, don't drop them by this gate, drop them by that area so they could walk through the back and all kind of thing. So, what are you guys talking about? Long and short of it is, they've been told they got to cut the hair or else, they're going to be sent, they can't come to school, can't enter class. So when I park up at the gate, let off my Empress, I see a lot of guys up by the office, and I realize all of them have some, little afros. And then I asked a student what's happening. They told me. On my way driving down school road, I met a youth crying. And when I stopped, I questioned him about, why he crying, and he told me straight up he was sent to cut his ear and he doesn't want to and so on. And he really brought back 20 years of what we went through with the struggle with my son Mika, and the denial in school with the locks. And long and short of it is, the Constitution has to be respected. The Constitution gives I and I the right, freedom of conscience and religion and so on. Even though these children were not Rastafari, and I must say, I don't see them giving Rastafari any issues when it comes to school with dreadlocks right now. I think that barrier has been broken, but now what I am seeing is lack of respect for African hairstyle. You're telling the children that we are not going to accept your natural afro as a boy, but as a girl, you can put in false hair once they have a certain length and color, and you can come to school. Now, when I saw the Prime Minister sent out a hair policy for schools, it basically said that children, boys and girls, can go to school with their hair long. You know, boys can have plaits, boys can have afro. This is the federal hair policy. But our premier now decides that he is going to have a different policy for Nevis. And so some of those privileges were, well, some of those rights were denied in the Nevis hair policy. That basically say boys here must be cut. Again, you can't have a law for boys and a separate one for girls. What is
Well,
the issue with the hair? Is
okay.
it safety? Is it health? And so, you
Well,
know,
I could help you with certain things now, because
mhm.
that's where I wanted to know what is the heart of the issue. Now, the first thing I must tell you is that under the Constitution, which we have already established is the supreme law of the land, Nevis have exclusive jurisdiction when it comes to education. In which case, the premier is fully right to adapt his own policy. With regards to the policy, the next thing what we must understand is a policy is not a law neither. A policy is me open my mouth and say something. A policy could change tomorrow. Somebody else could get in and the policy is a different policy. So this is not even a law that we're dealing with here specifically. The only law we would be dealing with, which is why they can trouble Rastafarian, is that because it is recognized as a religion, you can't trouble that. Once again, that is how come I was saying, when it comes to the sacrament part, as long as we establish that it is a religion, you get all of the benefits that go along with it being a religion. That's how this thing's supposed to go. So you cannot discriminate on a Rasta based on his religion. You're wrong. A money you're going to get the Rasta. A free money you get the Rasta. Because you tell he just because he a Rasta, you're against he. A free money. You can't do that right now. That is the benefit of being a Rastafari being recognized. Now, since we have established that Nevis got exclusive jurisdiction, you must understand, you can't fall back on Dr. Joe. Now, we could use Sinkits as an example, who say, look, Sinkits people are go to school and that is not the cause of no confusion down there. Of course, you go to school and that is not a problem in 2015. But Rasta, you gotta remember, we having a conversation right now over an hour and me not hear you say folks yet. I be premier does say word like folks. All kind of old time thing he does say on a partner. So this is the man. This is how come I say we are living in a digital world, but we got analog leader. So is all kind of old time kind of thing you're trying to deal with, when even in the old time it been wrong. A long time it been wrong. No, we finally got a chance to make things right and just do this thing the easy way. And what is frightening is these are men who travel the world and see Rasta in all kind of position. Interact with them all kind of position and then come back on Nevis and say, no, not for us. If I be here too long, I'll be gonna be unruly with long hair. So I wanna tell you, is not is the NIA fully with regards to this, because that is why it was explained. I don't think that there was anything spoken of with regards to danger. It's just, as I tell you, personal preference. I just don't like to see Nevis young man look a certain kind of way. Boom,
Virgin, these
policy.
things they are going on since I in school. These things going on, you
Yeah,
know. When I
it's
in
just
fifth farm,
yeah.
fourth farm, this thing that is going on is just people own personal views how they want to see it once they're in authority. They put the things in place where and I want to say this, I want to say that. Just militarized. That's all it is. Even when I in high school, I mean fifth farm, I mean I gotta pat down my hair because if you ain't look a certain way, they want you to chip. All kind of craziness. So and I done school for over 30 years now. So these are nothing new. It just show you 30 years. That's a different generation now going through the same thing. And it's really, 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 really sad. Really sad.
You
This happened to me
you just
personally, you know?
Part of it is as well the fact that we don't have that sort of system, that democratic system, so to speak, where when decisions are made, like the people are consulted with in terms of making these kind of decisions. Because, for example, something like that, it has never been brought to the table. Other Caribbean countries have made moves to make those changes. They would have had them on their books, but they would have already made some different changes. Why are we still wanting to hold on to colonial things? And why those who are in authority are not brought to discussions or debate or whatever with the public, so that if a decision is made like that and a change need to be made, that somebody don't just get up in the high office and just make a change because, well, they find themselves in that authority. The level of consultation with the public and so on, I think is very much lacking on a lot of things, and this happens to be one such issue as well. And it would only change when things like that become common ground for the society to have a role in terms of, being engaged in these kind of discussions and changes. Because as simple as it was with Iroy alone making that one protest on social media, number of different perspectives as a result, people who I didn't even thought might chime in on a discussion like that did. And he said to me that these are things that really have the need for more social involvement in terms of whatever policy making, decisions. This is something that bother me a bit, Alan, because I keep saying this. We don't hold a lot of these people accountable, and so it comes down to a lot of that perspective for me.
well, and this issue here, me feel like the mothers gonna got to fix this here. When when the mothers them decide that they're gonna start to make noise and say, Mr. Premier, stop trouble me child because I long here, the policy gonna change. That's all what this is gonna take. The premier
Yeah,
say Nevis.
a lot of parents have called me and support the move. Some have even promised when we're ready to do something, they're gonna be a part of it.
Yeah.
And that was just to create, the awareness as what is still going on, because we really don't intend to let this rest. I mean, Ras Iroy, and we have made changes, and this is something I think the teachers, the ministers should be so glad to see our young boys going to school, going to the gates. Where do we
And
find
not
time
and
to
not only
pressure
that,
the youth?
he's a man who done gone through the same thing. He's a man got the same kind of long hairstyle kind of thing. He's supposed to know everything what kind of. He's supposed to free up this.
Hey, man, this is such a non-issue, man. I can't believe
Yeah.
we still have to battle this, But I think if one person just take some legal action, I think they would have to back down, because it is
So this
discrimination.
is so you are
And
saying this is a one-man decision, or this is a policy by the Minister of Education and his staff and everybody? Can this be a collective? So this is not so this is
well,
not collective, no?
it was posted on social media, the Nevis policy. I don't have the technology
Mm-hmm.
to share it at this point, But yeah, there's the federal policy, and then there's a policy for Nevis.
So is there any way when it comes to statistic that those who have long hair fail perform less than those who have short hair and all this different stuff? Because this seems to be a serious issue even in 30 years ago plus in my time. And to
I,
present
No,
and it
but
shows in my time it was not an issue. And in Yasson time it was not an issue
No
because we still
statistic would
pass
be
our
there because it
classes.
was never allowed.
Yes.
Statistics will
do
be
the
there, but it
item
was
know
never
that
allowed. But
children were prevented from doing their exams until they cut the hair? These are
yeah,
things
some
that we
of
should
them.
be
Really?
writing directly to CXC and expose what is happening. How can you do that to a child? Say if they don't cut the hair, they ain't got the right to do their CXC exams. That's madness.
But on the same time you was doing this protest, the same is coincidentally and not coincidentally, the same was happening in Jamaica. It seemed like I was wondering if this was a CARICOM issue that these leaders sit around and come up with this thing and instant lotion these places. Because it's like you have different places where this thing going at the same time at the opening of school.
Our leaders are being led, eh?
It's obvious.
They all have
You're seeing.
that,
The
that
same time,
for.
all this happening the same time in 2 different Caribbean countries or more. So
But
is
we have some
when these
legal
people
mind
doing up,
among us. What can we
yes.
do? What can we do? Because I have said before and I say it again. This was just creating the awareness again. It must stop. I think it's a burden that the youths, the young boys, don't need. The school called me tomorrow to make a presentation for Black History Month. I'm there. So this is not a fight against flesh and blood. This is, against corrupt policies and discriminatory policies. So if we have to take legal actions, we would do so. And this is about the rights and the rights of our children, because it may sound simple, but if we allow these things to continue, that's what it's going to be again, total control where people have no rights. Everybody can
if
just tell you, you know, no, we can't
if you
operate like that.
if you're alleging discrimination on what grounds?
Freedom of your expression. Growing an afro is a natural cultural hairstyle. You have one law for girls and you have one law for boys. You're saying boys here must be cut short, but girls are being allowed to grow their hair. That's sexist. They could even wear braids, you know.
Uh, you're starting to knock on an interesting door. I could start to see the beginning of an argument. I could start to see that not necessarily gonna go into discrimination neither. Cause remember in order to go under the discrimination one, you don't got to be based on sex or religion or something like that. So. But if you're gonna say you have a breach of your right to freedom of expression, then I guess you could start to build an argument in that type of direction. It possible.
No,
I don't
but
think
the
about it.
policy
I
is
don't think about
specific
it.
to sex. It is specific to
Yes.
sex, It say boys
Well,
boys
then
here must be cut short.
Yeah, so it's
so
sex. It's
okay.
sexist.
Okay. So that means we could say discrimination based on sex. That
Yeah.
mean yeah. But this is the language you would have to speak in order to draw the attention of those in authority, because they would start to respect them kind of thing. They all of a sudden they're gonna say, "What? Somebody teach the Rastaman something." Rastaman was talking to a lawyer.
No, but
Well, we
it
have
comes down
lawyers
to
to do the
policy.
work here.
These are policies that they would have had in place for a number of years, and just like even with the constitution, it's like the government know that there are things in the constitution that needs changing and adjusting, but the political will to do that, and it's the same thing. A lot of these policies, even the challenge that we had with Rastafari, and that was part of the here issue as well, then know that it was discriminatory. They know that it was there was an issue, but the political will of those who are active to say the change or be proactive in terms of this change is not going to happen. So it's going to what is happening here in terms of Ras Iroy bringing the awareness and us, pushing forward and as he said, getting the support from the parents and all the other stakeholders in society to force a change that I think should be, very obvious. My thing is, as long as instead of having the rules and regulations saying boys this and girls that, if you're addressing here, address here across the board and say, well, as long as your hair is neat and neatly groomed, or whatever the standards you want to have for here, that is something that is found also in the workplace and so on, in terms of having your hair adorned a particular way. I could agree with that, but in terms of telling me about the length and all of those things, as long as it's neatly attired and sanitary, that's okay. And so the sexist part of it, yes, you could challenge from that perspective. And that is where I think, as Alan pointed out, would be one of the better arguments on president to push that discussion.
Yeah, I don't feel like the premier should punish the young man them because he hairline fading at this moment in time. So, Mr. Premier, free up the young man then hairline and free up the hair. We going shifty in the politics now, no. So Iroy,
We're getting the messages before after Iroy, and we're getting the messages then too.
Okay, Iroy, if you want to say good evening and jump out at this time, we're gonna give you that option.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a pleasure, being on this platform. Again, too, the discussion tonight would have, cleared up a lot of issues and shed some more light. And of course, reasoning with the item always give I that kind of inspiration. We're not alone. I might have been standing there alone, but I know I'm not alone. Because you can always call and ones and ones with the kind of support, So that is good. And I think we need more of this in our communities. The youths have to see us being upful, assisting them when they need the assistance, but still holding them accountable and making sure that, as we say, they become well disciplined and upful youths. And well, Granny used to say, staying on in the good books, we know that there are challenges out there, and even with teachers and so on. And I think when you lessen the conflicts, with the youths, I think you get more of them. Being a member of the authority, the Cannabis Authority, I do hope whatever influence I could create, it would always be in keeping with my commitment to ensuring that as Rastafari and as a people, as a local person, as a man who accustomed to grow cannabis, that we get our fair share in this whole industry. So once again, brothers, keep up the works. Anytime, I'll be happy to be on the show again. I'll take my exit now and do some other vibes. One perfect love.
Yes, sir. Give thanks.
I'll be gonna look out for the middle of the year.
Alan, if I'm allowed, right? There's a little question I want to ask Iroy before he leaves. I'm gonna try to phrase it in a way that we could segue out of it, and so he could probably segue in the response to a political standpoint. But the fact that you was a bit late this evening because you attended the Buckley's Uprising commemoration and Syncits this evening. Probably you could shed a little light on it, and if any commitment from the government, because I know this is one of the things that Ras Iroy and the Rastafari community has been pushing over the years and seeking to get commitment in terms of doing something on the site. I know they would have sold some of the lands and so on, but is there any commitment gathering today that the government is going to actually do something, put a museum or a park or whatever it is that they said that they were going to do in response to that?
Yes, it was again a pleasure being over there. I think I've been doing it for the past maybe 25 years or so. Being a part of the Nyabingi as well, and I really want to commend the Nyabingi Tiakusiada, Benjamin Sinkits, assisted strongly by the leadership of Ras Iroy, that they keep an activity like that going over the years. In the past, we were actually in the estate grounds holding the high liberations annually, and then over the past couple of years, we have been forced to hold it in the streets because lands being sold and fenced off and access to the lands, really been an issue. However, we had the commitment of the Jew-led government that they're gonna do something about it. They're gonna acquire the lands and they're gonna put down museum and so on. Um, and they did give themselves a 2 year timeline for start. But as Rastafari, we kept them pressured. But today it was announced that they would have made a decision. They're not able to acquire all of the land. Basically, we were asking them to, whatever developer, whatever businessman would have taken up the area and gain access to take it back from him. Not, I mean, of course, with compensation, because that land is really sacred land and should be used for the purpose. However, they would have acquired a few acres. I can't remember exactly how much. Enough space to build a monumental park, and that was stressed tonight by the area representative and the prime minister himself. Some timelines were given, in terms of how far. The land has been the negotiations. He said the deals are being closing. Because the focus seems to be where they're going to relocate some people. But in terms of the park, he didn't say how they're going to go about you know um coming up with a design. I guess some committee will have to decide on that. But it was taken by the audience kindly. Every good gesture is a good gesture. However, it's been a long time. This was the 90th anniversary, and as one brother Blake would have mentioned, it shouldn't take 90 years for a monument to have gone up. But however, you have a chance to do it now. Make sure your words. So again, they showed some indication that things are happening and they're holding true with their word. But governments take, I don't know why, but a bit too long to do certain things. But I could see, it reaching to a point where you can start looking into designing a park and how you're going to operate it, what you're going to do with it, make some money from it, educational point, working out the logistics. But again, I would only be comfortable when I see it happen. Rastafari.
Feel it. Feel it. Rastafari. Enough respect, guidance, and section. Give thanks for passing through and being here, and we look forward to having you back more times. We definitely, I think the public would have been, appreciative of your presence here and the information that you would have shared, and being able to respond to the questions. And like Alan suggested, I think you should be probably earmarked for the person as PRO to represent the organization, because I think you're doing a good task. I mean, a job at it right now. So that might be something that you could seek to have them consider as well, So give them.
Rastafari.
Mm. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, normally I would be raring to go. I would be so excited at this juncture of the show, because today was press conference day in Nevis. But And I forgive me for my low energy. I was so underwhelmed and underserved by my premier this year. This year, this life, this everything. I'm exasperated. I am at the end of my leash.
For fiscal year 2025,
No.
they've allocated.
No. Okay. Even before me reaching other things I want to hear, maybe I got to step on something. I got a little 1-2 clips. That one is a local thing. The premier keep on boasting about how he send public works man a sink it, and he send milling machine a sink it, and he said we need to be proud. I think that the premier is making a mistake. I feel like the premier is actually moving like he's a Democratic candidate in America right now and not the Republican who he is. When it comes to politics, Mr. Premier, politics is local. Nobody cannot go where we are do for SK. Nobody can go the road down St. Peter's. So when he boasts and say I'll be supposed to be happy that St. Peter's people got on road, I'm Iranian feeling that Nevis people ain't care about St. Peter's people and them road, and they would rather Nevis people road do. How me sound?
Well, I was wondering if only one thing so that when unless the Nevis Island administration is strapped for money, where they're going to do work for money, unless they're trying to get in money into the treasury, that doesn't make no sense to me. Because if the public works, all the machines in sync, that's mean Nevis ain't gonna go to be fixed. This don't make no sense. When I hear that happen, and for the 10 they've been down there, so what happened to Nevis been abandoned then? So right now our public works doing is patching holes, some little holes here and there around Hamilton, areas that are drive, I realize, and any major road projects none is doing. So, but I mean, I just figure maybe the is way of putting in money into the consolidated funds. So public works has been subbed out as contract to the works for other. Next year they end up in Monstrat and St. Lucia and different places and stuff like that. That's all I'm waiting for next. Because that's what's gonna happen.
Now that I'm thinking about it and I'm putting 2 and 2 together, didn't we get $20 million from Dr. Joe for the airport project? Didn't that happen last year, recently? Around the same time when the man went on ice? Anyway, your son, do you think the premier is making a mistake? Am I blowing this out of board? You feel like Nevis people are happy to hear that St. Peter's people got on road? Or you feel like them would rather if the machine milling and you just come up with
it? I wouldn't quite put it that way. I don't necessarily like the way that you are phrasing it.
What? I got what to put them. Okay.
No. Listen, you're trying to do your position, you know.
Wait there. I'm gonna put them
in your position.
No, wait there. I want to put them even what's you. I'm gonna put them even what's you. How me supposed to take it? How me supposed to take it, right? Me's a Nevis man, right? And you telling me ain't getting me fair share. But then you turn around and boasting after me and telling me, but we sending man and equipment down and sink it. So them I get more than their fair share, and me send down public works down there. Go ahead. Tell me put it.
So what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily want to put that twist on it, in relation to making it appear that we are creating a rift between St. Kitts and Nevis.
No.
But
no.
The reality is, no, hold on.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Reality
yeah,
is,
let me get to the reality. The reality
is
I like that.
that there are roads on Nevis that need serious addressing. And me personally, I am from St.
You drive a
James's.
Long Point Road lately? You drive by going to the port?
Fountain,
and I could call a few others too.
and Westbury. Fountain,
Exactly.
Morley and Westbury have been arguing, begging. We've been promised a road since, I think it's about 2013 or so. So
Wait.
for me,
Just drive on the Port Road. The
personally,
Port Road alone good enough. In the tongue, Port Road, go to Long
well,
Point.
okay, but I am speaking for my,
But
I'm
yeah,
speaking for
son.
my area.
Yeah, son. Here what me try to tell you to, and here what make me tell you here move like a Democrat. When the Democrats them a tell you, but the war in Ukraine and we're part of NATO, them they tell you all kind of thing wanna happen in America and want win in America. You understand? Politics is local. People wasn't trying to create a rift between America and Ukraine, you know? But what Americans are say is, okay, I'll be sending all of that aid there out of Ukraine. I've been have problems. How come I'll be fix everybody problems when we got problems home? So that's how come me ask you, how Nevis people supposed to interpret this thing? Me not try cause no rift. But me home in a Hamilton and me road this shit. And he tell me about road down at St. Peter's. How me supposed to watch that? Me supposed to be proud of you? And me a look on me road.
Well, Alan,
Me,
it all depends on how you're looking at it, you know. It all depends on how you're looking at it, because I'm telling you, the point that I think he is trying to put out is the fact that we have gotten to the level, we were so backward to some extent, but now we have gotten to the level now where we are not just doing good roads, but we are capable of doing roads also for other people. So he's trying to point out the skills and technical capabilities that we have. However, like you're rightly pointing out, it would have been a better image if all of the issues and Nevis would have been sorted out and then do this. But we know that it is political
well,
mileage.
wait there, hold on.
That is the
Wait there.
in that argument.
Hold on, your son. Remember he's a man what does deal with all kind of old time saying. So let me give him an old time saying why he would understand. You dance a yard before you dance abroad. He gonna understand that day. Them parables they're gonna hit him in his soul. We have a question here coming in. Someone asks if there's an unequal level of attention. And I'm gonna replace the word unequal. I would think that they mean if we are hyper focusing on the advancement between the islands. So I feel like people are hyper focusing and saying that one island are going left the other one.
The normal thing.
I don't quite see it. So I see that we are pointing out some of those obvious examples where it is apparently being that way. And for example, I guess maybe that might have been shown apparently in the discussion before in relation to cannabis, where seemingly federally there's some moves in relation to cannabis, and St. Kitts and Nevis have gone way ahead, miles ahead in relation to some of the things that they are doing and should be doing in terms of showing that this is the direction that they want to move into. And we are not seeing anything, absolutely nothing on Nevis. And similarly, with the 25 by 25 agenda, we are seeing that happening in the same ministry, agriculture, because cannabis is also in agriculture. That is happening as well, where a lot of things is going on in St. Kitts where that is concerned, and not much is happening on Nevis. So I'm saying that a lot of that is pointed out in examples like that. So I think the person is onto something by making that comment or asking that question.
What about your banky? You feel like people does hyper focus and say, but I think it's going left Fabi? Or you feel like that is over?
Well, traditionally, I mean, you're growing up as a youth in the 80s and you're still hearing the stories where if St. Kitts get a new ambulance and new one, Nevis get the old one. You know, so it's like it's not nothing I've seem to people seem to still think the same way and seem to have a rift. Even though the politics now have crossed over, we have Nevis and St. Kitts even now listen both all the politics on both sides. It was never like that. Nevis people never get used to getting singing politics like now, but over the years, generation have changed, and now both parties, everybody lying down in everybody's bed and all these things, and hugging up and kissing up and all these things, and yet, you know, I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, you still a fight for fair share. I mean, honestly, but the Constitution has said what is don't set the precedents there already. What's so hard to figure out? I'm sure my 4-year-old can figure out the equation, because I don't see why all these you need IMF and you need the World Bank and all these things. Didn't the Constitution have a 25 or 24% priority ratio or whatever? And I mean, so what's the purpose of all these 200 years of education that all these members of parliament have? Because out of the years of education they have, you reach over 200 years, and they still can't figure out proper fair share when it is set already. Really, this doesn't make no sense. So it's obviously somebody fooling somebody. You see, it's all crap. This don't make no sense. When you instead of a party, we still have members in the federal government. They sit around in the same. When they go in the House of Assembly, they have a fun day, but nobody on the same plane ride, and nobody lean over and say, "Boy, well, what happened to you? You know, work with us hour." Nobody work with nobody. You just go tagging along, having tea, having meetings, but the discussion don't come up. And Virgin, with wise for this nonsense going on. I have children over 25. You understand? And they're wiser than me. You see me to show you? My 14-year-old wiser than me. If my 4-year-old, and you think they're going to entertain this nonsense 30 years later that been keep this is what they want to continue doing us. They're not serious, and it's obvious in this time we can see things what it is. Nevis Road need doing in a Virgin. So when all the Nevis equipment don't sink it, what happened to Nevis Road them? When me drive on the, me don't want to drive on the Long Point Road no more, so me going over to go to Long Point or go in Cherry Garden. I have to think which way to drive. This is what we think. And if I go in Castle, I have to think which way to drive, go, can I want to pass? Something wake out on the bad road again. Some people who live in Butlers tell me they don't drive Castle, they come the other way around to come by Mansa shop. They say, boy, me don't drive that way there. Me say, what? You understand? They drive on the other way to come to buy Mansa shop to buy stuff. They just don't drive Castle way. The people from Butlers and over in camps, they drive come the whole way around to get better road. You can't make up these things here. And you're going to tell me all my equipment they're sinking to the road. What is it for money? Can these one need to be addressed? How much money are they being getting paid to do these roads? I would like to know. These are the questions I would like to know.
Where right now it seems like it's for prestige, because I'm not hearing hearing the proudness in you. Cause the premier say you need to be proud. I may not hear the proudness in you.
What are how much the public was getting paid, because how much Nevis, the people of Nevis benefiting from the equipment in St. Kitts? Are they just giving a donation of work or whatever it is? There's a cost to do this road, cause you gotta there have to be a cost. There have to be a cost to do this road. So how much I think money going into the treasury each month? That I would like to know. What is the bill? You know the bill be?
No.
You know the research yet?
All I know, we get $20 million from the federal government. On top of the bill be? On top of the money, I don't know.
Well, we need to research that, and so much money going to the consolidated funds, the treasury for public works doing the roads in St. Kitts. That should be the next question coming up in the Premier's press conference. How much is the cost of the road public works benefiting, and how much Nevis people benefiting? Because these are way on these equipments, you know.
I want to answer Akila's question. She asks, is there a misuse of funds? Akila, there's always. If there's not a misuse of funds, there's definitely a potential for a misuse of funds. Always in play.
No, but this is serious in a Virgin. If we're gonna have, if I leave to go to sing to do a job, the workers have to be paid. So who paying they're getting paid from which? St. Kitts and Nevis, Nevis workers. So which mean they have to be, somebody have to price the job to do the road from this point to that point and all different stuff.
I heard that it was a private company, but I've never heard the Premier make reference to which particular organization. He just saying.
Well, I was in St. Kitts.
Watch out. He even tell people in St. Peter's, he said, I need when I drive on I road, I need to thank me.
Okay.
You understand?
I was in St. Kitts last week to meet up with some friends. And I drove on the road. When you come on the road by the airport, your son, going over the bridge, going towards the stretch of road there. And they was telling me, Banky, this is why I Nevis people do that. This is the road I do for we. So you feel like a sea water. You're getting Joe's like you come up on the Islander boat and they're making me. So what you talking about? Me said this is the road I feel me sitting for our workers to our public works to do. Because the road was kind of uneven and wavy and stuff like that. The stretcher road going to from the back of the airport, going down towards the next road on the boat to go around. So I was making those comments. I say, okay, me say, so who they do the road for? And he mentioned the name Stradia, some or whatever it is. I guess that is the company who doing it. Stradia, something like this. I don't know, but that's the same. The person who doing the road going up to Monkey Hill and stuff like that, and coming on. That's the person doing those road. So I guess that so the premier contract public works to a regular contractor in. So which means they have to be getting pay. So how much they're charging? That's all I want to know. What the bill be?
Well, we will find out in 2 years when the auditor's report come out. Yeah, and the premier is forced to say the amount in 2 years' time. I want to hear from you on the next topic though, and this this is regarding to do with government property. Recently, he had something they say a sign or something get brought down by the bad stream. I think I would have heard. Yes.
Which one is sign?
You know that they just spend a lot of money down by the bad stream.
Yeah, well, listen, outside the bad stream.
He had some kind of deformation to the bad stream. Me say deformation.
Yes.
Defacing of property at the bad stream.
Yes.
Something mash up down there. In addition to that, I hear try a couple of months ago say they thief something out of the school. I'm hearing every now and again you got a little break-in somewhere. So my question is, we got CCTV, we got security. Not only that, we have spent a lot of money on certain of these things. Is my premier being a naive? Is my premier being naive by just hoping everybody is gonna be a good Samaritan? Nobody gonna mash up a sign. Nobody gonna do no choppiness. Rather than having security in place at these facilities. For example, Banky, you've been a walk down an Indian castle. Is there security down there at night time for in case something happens? What's the protocol?
There was none at the time, but what I was there was planned to put security in place, cause especially when the food trees, especially the coconut trees, started put in place, cause it had high demand for stuff like that. But those protocols for stuff to be put in place at the time, but then as you see, in the end, most I don't know what's the situation. But those things was higher. I mean, to hire gentlemen within the community, all that was discussed already to look over the place and stuff like that.
But when it comes to like bad stream, where the man just say, for example, they just put $1 million, you ain't feel like some kind of
a regular person to hire
security.
somebody for overnight, of course. That's common sense.
Okay.
That goes without saying. There are security people guarding Hasfords at overnight and TDC and all them places. Even though they have cameras, they have a person they guarding those institutions every night. Both Hasfords and along with other entities and stuff like that. They have a personal individual doing the guard apart from the cameras. It's the safest way.
Yes, son. My premier is being a naive. Nevis people need to behave themselves and be the good Samaritan. And before you answer, your son, this is why I made us say the premier does more like I said, like nobody never promised his wife him. And ain't deliver. It's like I say all the time when he get promised, they show up. Nobody never bullshit the premier. No, your son stick. Yeah, nobody could be frozen. He got to be. Oh, you mean me watch him and I say, me say nobody could be frozen for the length of time.
Oh, yes, I'm good now. But I mean, I would, if I say they were doing at the bar stream, I wasn't sure what would have been the situation if they would have a gate, if they would hire if they had intention to hire somebody overnight, and all these things are. If you go down there for 5 o'clock, if you'll be able to access it and stuff like that. So I haven't been there because since they officially been done all the work and stuff like that, so I'm not sure exactly how it is. I didn't know they have TVs and all this stuff, but do most of these TVs working?
Even when you watch the Mondo Chuck, the other day this man posted a video of the Mondo Chuck with goat and so down on the Mondo Chuck. How the man ain't got no security over by the Mondo Chuck? How he ain't got a man who responsibility it is by, watch here, you need to make sure that the Mondo Chuck cool. And one thing what the premier not tell Abby either, you know, cause I feel like he kind of glad although he been cost the farmers them a little bit, you know. But if the Mondo Chuck got in so much of grass that the goat and the sheep and them and all say, boy, Labby go along in here, boy. That mean nothing going on in there. That mean nothing going on. If them man not cut the grass, even not had nothing in there, them man going in for neither. But yeah, son.
Yeah, but
yeah, son, these infrastructure ain't supposed to be better protected. Is the premier right to demand that Nevis people behave in a better manner and to be somehow naive enough to feel like everybody is gonna be a good person. That maybe I put it in a bad manner.
No, you can be right on both sides because yes, I think those infrastructure should be secure. You should either have physical guards and or CCTV in these modern times to have an idea of what's going on in those places. And also, at the same time, we should have a sense of pride in ourselves in terms of the fact that, you know, when we would have invested, when our taxes would have been invested, because we didn't invest it. So when our taxes would have been invested in things like that, I would want to think that we should have some more patriotic pride and so on to at least want to see our place look good and would want to not want to defame things like that. So like I said, you can be right on both ends. So both
No.
Technically, yes, I agree with both.
No. Watch it. You see, yeah, I'm tell you why Donald Trump got the Secret Service. Most people in America, yeah, right. Them man just want to get you for themselves. But he got couple people who head no good. They ain't good. And for these people, you got to take precaution at all moments in time. It is good and well. It is good. But what I'm trying to tell you, both can be. The premier is living in some kind of fantasy world where, you know, and he done do it several times, you know. When he been say that the people and them hack, you know, the premier come out and say, boy, he come out and bluff up something and say, boy, yeah, I hope them not hack us again. That how you gonna deal with it? And really got is oh my god, this man does so frustrate me. But anyway, it ain't no real action from the G. It's bluster and fluff. Oh my god, Panda press conference there today. On a side note, for the rest of the year, all we're gonna get from the premier is a pile of reruns, a pile of this is what we've accomplished, this is how great we are. Oh my god, this man has nothing.
How much? What is the demand when it comes to the housing community? How much housing is needed when young people need and stuff like that for to London housing? What is the demand? Can never hear any talk and stuff like that. How much housing is needed per a year time? How much young people and how much of them is being afforded the opportunity to get these houses? This is
They
the thing I want to hear
normally just
discussion.
say that they're gonna build about 45, and they normally they build about 23.
Yeah, but
This
that's
year
still
they
may ask how much what is the demand that people need? What is the demand for
they,
housing in
I
Nevis?
I have never heard that statistics, sir.
Because they will have these people applying for application
Definitely.
for home. They would have these things. They also, well, we need at least, the demand is so high, we have at least 100, 500 applicants, 300 applicants, which mean, and then you can't build 10 house. Can mean you're not helping the housing market. If you're not having construction boost in your country, not going to be going on, because construction is one thing. As a tradesman who work in construction and understand construction, what you build in a house is everybody getting working now. Plumber, electrician, people to clean the house, you understand, tileman, painter, you much trade, and then you much family members, a household getting work out of this, furniture, this, that, a whole heap of things. Anytime a country don't have a good construction boost consistently, you got to tell yourself nothing going on in your country. Any developing
That's
country
what
must always have construction work going at all times.
that's why
You
they're
must
trying
have
to do
that,
the
that
airport.
going on.
That's
The
why they're trying
airport,
to do. Yeah.
okay, all right. And apart from that, again, agriculture is the next one. When it comes to employing people, nobody hire more people in agriculture. When it comes to construction, again, you got to, along with providing work, you need people in the outside and the people into, and then you have small factories. It's a constant spin.
Well,
I don't
as you
realize how
mentioned,
people
that
are serious now. Yes.
they say you got some kind of agro processing clinic going on. So the premier is
Wait.
investing in
Clinic?
agriculture. Yeah, in Nevis.
We're
You
talking
said
about.
you said there's an agro processing clinic no, I can't tell you the location, but there's an agro processing clinic and
Prospect?
21 people. No, I say a clinic. Me not talk about the place.
A workshop.
Yeah, workshop then. If clinic is not the right word. Yeah. And the training people pan agro processing. Me not necessarily feel like
That's
you
it?
got to go across by yeah, them are train 21. Me not feel like you got to I feel like certain things you could buy and get them home by you and be able to do agro processing, you know.
Of
Me
course.
not
Have
necessarily
small
feel like you
machineries
got
and
to,
stuff like that.
yeah.
But
So
the
it look like
agro-processing unit, that is really for the agro-processors. I mean, the government manage house the building, but the machineries and stuff like that, from my understanding, were grants and stuff like that were put in place for the Nevis. By speaking to Miss Dyer and those people in the agro-processing, the early Miss Stapleton and stuff like that, that building and the machineries were funded by people in the agro-processors. The government is who the building belongs to and pay the staff, but the general public have a right to go there to use all the facilities and the machineries for a small fee. But these are things that is just not advertised. I mean, training is always important. I myself working on some training in agro processing through Indonesia, coming up and which already been approved and stuff like that. But all I want now, if I'm my approval, which I tell them is okay for other Caribbean countries to join. Kind of love the idea to join the workshop, which is going to be online in coconut oil making and jams and teas and drinks and different stuff like that, and also business plan added to it. Training is key. Nothing is wrong with these things, but small machineries to fund it for those in this is important, because you're gonna need machineries and all the different stuff. So, and all these things I've put into my applicant to be funded once everything is done, and so
well,
at least these people can be paid.
all of them things they done in place. The man got $100,000 of people and all kind of thing. But the premier is doing big things, you know. Yeah, as long as it's not a major capital project, he is doing big things.
Me not impressed. You got to come through. 'Cause I was a part of a training already, okay, and I won the funding and all these things. So I tell them it's all right. Take the funding and buy machineries. Can hand it over. I tell them to do everything. Me not make up this. And essential oil making I think a 2 weeks or 3 weeks workshop. And I just happened to get in, and then I was the one who awarded the grant. I turn over the grant to them, keep the grant, and those who are part of the workshop, let them, they can use it to buy X amount of the distilleries and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Okay, well, it will be enough to afford everybody who was part of the workshop. I buy mine personally for my own money. Me still got mine them, my distillers. It till not happen. You see? So better we keep the money. You understand? And then donate it myself and buy the machine and give it to myself because I understand I keep one and them hold the same machine in Sidu.
Well,
Well, these things make any sense?
what really happened
You
is
see?
what really happened is you ain't follow through. That's your
Follow through. Me
problem.
tell you what
You
happened.
ain't follow
Me tell
through.
you what
You ain't
happened.
follow through.
They buy one machine and keep it in a Sidu and who want to use and whoever you want to use come there to use it. Well, that make any sense? The agreement was to give each individual in the workshop the machine. Each mechanism was enough to buy if a 10 machine to buy 10 machines. So how you buy one and say them who come who they use it. This so with these kind of things, I'm not impressed. I want to hear about unless that you're not follow through what you're gonna say you're gonna do. Because I'm telling you what I part, I make up these things. I was a part of the same. You see, may tell you it's truth.
You
So what
see,
you tell me there, may tell you. Make a
wh-
machine, you know.
wh-
So me tell me by me and me win.
you
I mean
you see
let them keep the money. All right.
what your problem is. You is a man.
Uh-huh.
What you don't get scammed couple times, and especially you don't get scammed couple times from politicians. So you know that you ain't listen to what people say. You listen to what they say just to hear. Okay.
Well, that's the whole point.
That
Exactly.
that way be you say you're gonna do. No one gonna watch you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Of
Whereas
course. Mm-hmm.
that's how come I tell you with the big man. The big man, like I said, he never gets scammed. Everybody
Okay.
way be deal with he just deal with he in a righteous and upright way. And what me say is no. As the authority in control, you're responsible for physical infrastructure and you're responsible for the physical welfare of that infrastructure there. Nobody's supposed to be a brokie in a school garden right now and get you with nothing. You're supposed to get security.
True.
Camera this also. And you ain't supposed to be begging and pleading and saying, I behave nice.
Because
You
these are
know,
hiring people, you know, hiring people in the community. That's all it's about, hiring somebody in the community.
but not only that, something will come to my mind too, right? A man will come blocking your school garden and so. It's not necessarily just about punishing them man, no. Cause maybe them man a struggle. It's all about circumstances, eh? Them man could end up come around uh, and show the expertise. Them man might got some kind of little expertise in agriculture, no? Could help weed up and so they just want an opportunity. So everything is on a case by case basis. We deal with this
True.
situation. Them man might just want a little opportunity. And you could walk out with them and say, well, instead of thief, come by here this
Yes.
time and according to you do the work here, you could get peace out of the garden too. So
Of
you
course.
not got to come your thief and hobby. And you turn what was a potential enemy into now a friend, a ally in a them kind
But
of
you see, this is what these
circumstance.
things is all about. When you have this school garden happening, and you have people within the community working in these places, because the more people is involved in the schools and the community, they, at the same time they're looking out for the projects too. And that we see
Indeed.
Indian Castle, you have people in the community working, so they have an eye and try to benefiting the people of Hanley's at the time. They're looking out for the area they can go and just buy. I see, you see what I mean? They keep an eye out because they're benefiting from these things. And this is how you're supposed to always do employ somebody in the community to work along with the schools. And these are things we've always been employing that being done, but people just don't see these things. So plus, I mean, the schools them need the garden because they spend a lot of money when it comes to in their kitchen supplying meals and buying food where they could have a garden and saving so much because I work with most of these schools on the island to make sure they have a garden, but it's just consistency. And me alone can't do it. I himself and Marcus and the rest guys used to help St. James's. So, but the point taken, we need to have more in. people guarding places that need to be protected and not just TV alone. Because you have a camera that don't mean them a walk. So when I see cameras, that don't mean them a walk to me, you know. They don't phase me. Them when the camera say, "Oh no, they don't bother me." Cause I don't know if they're working or not. You understand?
And
You see, come
and,
up and
and
post, come here. They don't bother me. You understand? Cause I don't know
the
if
real
somebody watching them or if they're working.
the real reason you need a guard too is because sometimes you need somebody physically to be there. If
That's the
if
whole point.
something happens, sometimes you need a physical presence. Yeah.
A water line can
Gentle,
bust overnight. Anything can happen.
yeah, as you say, and they could
Who's gonna pay
recognize
them?
it and be able to say, "Yo,
Of
this your
course,
boss." They could even go by the stop clock and turn them off
that's the
until
whole point.
morning and them type
Yes,
of things. Whereas the camera
yes,
only could be there and show you. You might only even hear on the camera
of
that the
course.
water has spring, but you don't know what again. Gentlemen,
Yes.
Alan,
it is
Alan,
15 past the hour. Go ahead.
who's gonna pay? Who's gonna pay these guys who you're talking about? This additional security stuff. Well, Premier already saying today that based on the budget and the fact that some funds was not allocated for, he had to cut back 15 or 20% of all of the various ministries' salary until that gap is filled. So if they're already doing that, well, how are they going to get money to pay for these additional security that are well needed? I mean, I'm not
You
trying to
see,
say that they are not well, just trying to.
me- it is not my job to do that. You know why? Me not the premier. Me only
Mhm.
all I'm saying is if these things are valuable, and I always ask the premier, I want the premier act with the public thing like how he will act in his private life. I feel like, for example, that the premier home is important to him. And I feel
Mhm.
like the premier does take precautions to protect the home the best way he know how. Me feel like even after the fire where be happened to the first office, I feel like there are precautions taken to ensure that things secure within them scheme there. And
Mhm.
in the same way, for me, it don't make no sense. You spend money to upgrade certain things down about and then end up and say, you know what? Let me just hope people gonna be good. You know one of the things then what me like about Sonny? Sonny fix up by he and Sonny do some boots. And at the end of the night, Sonny lucky boot and them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not to say he a try to discriminate or nothing. But when you don't go in there do your choppiness between 1 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the next day, and you now go clean in there and all that kind of thing, that what he got to do with his business? So he had to take a proactive business choice. Ulaki boot and them at night time. Secure. You got to secure the thing. Me nah say nothing hard or nothing extra. If you invest in something extra now, you got an extra responsibility. And you gotta go figure out how you are gonna secure that there. You don't move in to a bigger house and then ask how you are gonna start out that day. No, you got bigger responsibility, so you got to go start out them responsibility there. That's how you go. And he's a
You
man
see,
what does
Alan,
he's a man what advise people and tell them, if you know you can't handle it, don't go in there. He don't tell people so. You know
see,
you can't
Alan,
take on an extra responsibility, then not do it. Got it.
as much as I'm hearing you, right? We
Mhm.
still see that what you are saying displayed in another way, and that's why sometimes you when you say you don't see how certain things make sense, I sometimes see how it might not make sense to you, but how it makes sense to them based on the objective that they have. So, for example, the point that you're making there in terms of if you're going to be setting up the place more and adding on and so on, you would want to expect that they should anticipate having additional responsibilities in terms of security and so on and so forth, which is very much correct and in order. However, when we look on the ground and we see how problems are sometimes addressed on a national level because of the fact that, and I have to say it's a fact, because I know if it was coming out of their pockets, that they wouldn't have
Yeah,
taken the decisions that they did. But because it's coming out of the public's purse, certain decisions are made. So, for example, you have issues with maybe buildings with mold or some kind of issue, and you move out, and you maybe even going to a place where you're paying much more rent than, well, maybe you might not have been paying any rent, but then the average person would have think, well, okay, since I'm paying rent over here, let me go and fix up my building and fix up my house so I can get back into my house so that I don't have to pay rent. But we don't see that example being set. We see like some of these buildings are even just left to go bush and whatever it is. And as much as we would want to think, the average people would think that that don't make sense. It would make sense to do what we are suggesting, fix up your building and go back in and so on, do whatever mitigation you need to do to fix. And then since you see that there's a problem also with this mold and it's happening all over, with do the preliminary work that you're suggesting that you're doing now with the foot and mouth disease. Can you say, since you're seeing that there's evidence of foot and mouth disease, you start doing deep cleaning and so on. Well,
boy,
don't
you're
wait
trying
until a
you're
spirit
trying
gets out.
getting everything, boy.
No,
You're
because
trying
I'm
getting
making
your
the
foot
exact.
and mole. No, stick on it. So if you try putting everything in, I make the point. So stick on the point.
But it,
Guy.
it ties in. It ties in. It ties in to show that this is a pattern. All I'm trying to show, is that there is
Yes.
that pattern of not seeing the need to put in that extra investment that you are suggesting.
So here is where we come to an impasse, Rasta.
Mhm.
This is why I have to lose. I think this is before the show. You would have said, by understand how come we don't fight, how come we don't ask for accountability. I feel like what I am saying is absolutely and totally reasonable. You invest $1 million in something, protect your investment. Is your position is that you see various other examples where they don't do it right?
Yes,
Do you think that they should?
of course, and that's why I said I am in
Okay.
agreement with you. But all I'm saying is, as much as it should happen, it is not. And examples are being shown in other ways that it is not. And so,
Okay.
what do you left? What is it? What are we left to then?
We are
Make sure they
underwhelmed
do it.
and underserved. And
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 that's the topic.
well, I was just trying to make sure we are on the same wavelength as far
So the
as
so
what
so
is
so
taking
these
place.
so these guys don't so you understand these guys don't know these things are needed.
But if I can get away with it, why put myself to that stress? And if the people are not
Yeah, but
holding me
look but look
accountable,
what
why
happened. But
put
look what
myself to that
happened. But look
stress?
what
See,
happened.
Rasta. Okay,
You
Rasta.
can't
How
take
they
left
gonna
or
hold him
so.
account? No. Hold on, Banky. It's time for me and the Rasta to fight. Apparently, how they gonna hold him accountable?
How they gonna hold them accountable?
Yes. It's an easy
Do
question.
what we are
How they
supposed
gonna hold him
do
accountable?
what we are do what we are supposed to do. Get
Such
them
as
begin to begin to consult more with us. report more to us. And since they're doing things on our behalf, then whatever decisions, major decisions they are made, we should have some sort of involvement. And if that is not happening, then that's where more of what we are doing here now in terms of agitating and speaking out and asking for more of these things to be done.
Okay, sir.
Any more comments there to read out?
No.
All right.
Well, on the wall, they had a couple of people. Let me see what we got here. Akila was saying personal freedoms are affected. One's here, but this was let me back up in the conversation. One's here should not limit the access to education or career advancement. Lenny Libert said, brothers, this has to be maddening, bro. In 2025, we're discussing here in schools still. I mean, come on, brothers. Akila was saying, no matter if you got free farm or bold, I think maybe she meant bald. A man is to be judged on his intellect and ability to achieve goals. Agreed, Mr. Yasson. It's beyond the sexism. I guess that would have been probably on the point with the here. Then Lenny Labels, Ras Iroy, blessings, my brother. I have to come look you up this summer when I get home, my brother. Clyde Griffin was saying, not siding with them in authority, but would the regulations on here, sorry, not siding with them in authority, but would the regulations on here, I think maybe he meant about the regulations on here, could that be so that they don't have to fight against when clothing is then seen as discrimination as well? Could that be a factor? I'm not sure what you were really trying to get across the Clyde, or what they're seeing is another fight.
I mean, if sure uniform, I guess maybe uniform, maybe uniform might be an issue. Be that along the line in closing uniform, maybe along the line he meant.
All of them things they have the issue because some of the uniform come down to, you know what I mean, militarization and all of that. Anyway, that's a whole other story too, yeah, within itself. Okay, then the other comments would have been from Akila, which I think Alan would have read out already. Alan, a number of things, you know, I kind of took some time out to listen to the press conference earlier on with the premier, and this is the other thing again when I talk about accountability again. I mean, it's a promise he said he made, which he decided to continue, that he will come to the public every month and speak to the public and answer questions from the media and so on. I am still baffled as to why we still continue to allow no other representation from the other 4 ministers who we are paying.
Wait. What can we do? You say we are allowing this. What can we do? Can we force them?
Okay, no, we can't force them. But okay, let me put it this way then. I am not hearing any agitation. Like how we're agitating for other things, I'm not hearing that as one of the things being agitated for. That we are not getting that sort of representation from the other ministers who are elected and should be likewise reporting and updating us on their various ministries, which we, the taxpayers, are paying them for. Because I think the premier went a good way to explain that earlier on today in his presentation as well.
Yes, son.
Yes, sir.
Can you reach out to these ministers and invite them on the show? You might stand a better chance than me. Each of them.
I am not sure
the Minister of Health, Education. Huh?
I think I can reach him because me and he on Facebook. Most I remember me and the ground and me got some of them on Facebook. And
all of them.
The premier blocked me. So.
All of them, not the premier one, all of them. I mean, the Junior Minister of Health, Mr. Charlie Liebod, Mr. Spencer Van, all of them. Invite them. You might stand a better chance than me.
Listen here, right?
Mhm.
What will that achieve? What when they come on, what be you try to do? I be want to get views. What be you try to do?
Well, yeah, so I'm gonna ask them the question we want to ask them.
We would be
Oh.
seeking to the
That's the whole
objective would
point.
be
But you should ask me the
to
question.
get to
Yes,
ask the
son.
questions that we are
Yes,
asking
son.
on these various different ministries. Yes, sir.
The I feel like me host step on a big stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have never expected blood to come out of the stone. Because it's a stone. Mega extensive experience. You see how CCM is operating. You know what we're dealing with. I feel like to continue to ask for this thing, which is asking for blood from a stone. We could continue to knock on the door there. Well, you could continue to knock on the door there. I will not be knocking with it. I don't feel like there is any fruit there. If another political party feels so inclined, possibly. I've been watching the round table. I say
Should that
any
be
political.
something, or
Go
should
ahead,
that be
speak.
something that we should be just allowing to slide like that and not demand what
But yeah, son,
should be common?
all these
Yes,
all these
son.
ministers
Basically,
are
what I'm saying is
a
that
host of
this
shows.
should be a norm.
Yes, son. Yes, son. Mark Brantley, me good. Me good after Mark Brantley. I am not gonna incentivize it because I see what it is. I only got one vote, sir. You understand?
So
Me not
so
hate
then
him.
in that what you're saying to me
Guys,
then, Alan, what you're saying to me, Alan, technically is then that mean whatever money is being paid to the prime minister, that sorry, not the prime minister, the premier, that he's the only person that we should be satisfied then that is getting, because if you're satisfied that he just here alone coming to you and telling you whatever is going on,
yes, son.
then why should we be
Yes,
satisfied
son.
that our
Yes,
taxes are
son.
paying these
Yes,
other
son.
ministers who are
Yes,
not doing the
son.
same?
Yes, son.
Yes, sir.
Yes, son. You are putting in the word satisfied. I never told you that I am satisfied with the situation.
You said you're good. You said you're good with that.
Sorry, is a colloquialism. Young people talk. When me good, me no bother one. Me alright. Me good. Me good. Me no need no more. You
You
understand?
can see
So,
you
so,
can see
so
this
let me
of this.
so let me give you a little context to that me good day. Me alright. I've seen all that I need to see. I've got all the information that I'll never need. I am good.
So then, Alan,
Hold on. Here's what I
uh-huh.
need you to understand too. I am equally unsatisfied with the situation. I was unsatisfied with the performance today in the press conference. This is why I told you I have a 15-year track record. You are telling me, Alan, let's teach this old dog some new tricks. All what me tell you is I am familiar with the old dog. Me know all the tricks what that old dog does do. Me good. Me want a new dog. I want a new dog. Me know exact. Watch out. You feel like in a the late stage, yeah, the old dog they got some kind of change in do. He gonna got a revolution. He gonna got a paradigm shift in his mind. And now all of a sudden he gonna accept. and it's gonna start to operate in a new way. That is your hope. You're being optimistic in a damn manner there. I feel you. I ain't in that with you. Me good. That's how come I tell you. I see the stone and I'm not expecting to get blood from the stone. If blood
no,
come out,
Alan, you see?
if blood come out of the stone one day, all right, we have a miracle. You continue,
I think we kind
step
of
on
slightly
in.
got different objectives.
Go
I think
ahead.
we got slightly different objective. My objective is not so much to make them change. You know, as you say, you understand the tricks and you understand what they're going on. My objective is to wake up the consciousness of the people who is allowing this to
Okay.
continue, because it could
Pause.
only
No.
change if the mindset of the people change.
Rastaman. Stop playing games with me.
Mm-hmm.
You right now, the press conference is a format with one person. You want it to be the full cabinet. That not change?
No. You're not correct. You see, that's what I'm saying. You're not correct. I have no problem with the premier. I have the press conference. What I am saying also equally, just so we get to hear from the premier, we also need to hear from these other ministers. So far, it has gone 2 years plus that these other ministers are elected, but we have never heard them in a forum similar to this, where they could be questioned by the media. So that means like a lot of what we're doing. That's why I was wondering what you were saying when you say you're good, because then it makes me feel like then what me and Banky do in terms of seeking to get information in terms of agriculture and what is going on, that we would never get.
That is exactly precisely what the fuck I'm saying.
No,
let me tell you. You're gonna run it and you qualify it in a different manner and all in kind of circumstances of saying, okay, he does got his press conference. How come them can't get them press conference too? Yeah. That
so
ain't gonna happen.
So what happened to our minds? Are we are the government? Are we are the masses?
Hold on. Yo, you talk. Watch ya. Hold on. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Pause. Before Trump get in office, it was the Gulf of Mexico. Trump get in, and Trump say it's the Gulf of America. America people allow Trump to do that? You feel my wife American, she allow Trump to do that? On a certain level, Rastaman, when we're dealing with reality, these men dealing with what they want to deal with. So stop talking about we allowing them to do these things. And that's how come I just said, listen, this is why me ain't got my problem with Mark Brownlee is a consistent failure to deliver on capital projects. When you hear Mark talk about how much scholarships and how much skills training and all them things, the culture I'm still gonna keep. Mark Brownlee is not burning down the kitchen, you know, but he can't do nothing dynamic. He can't watch here. He's saying we ain't gonna do nothing in the budget unless we could raise the money. He for 8 years now he can't raise $8 million to go to the hospital. How he gonna raise the $500 million we need to go to geothermal? When it come to major projects, this is not the man where you want. If you want a road bill from here to there, cool. Got you. He can't even get a hospital designed properly. Because he gone to a draftsman, not an architect. His man had to tell him by this is how you wire this thing. Ain't no more going on. This is not what we're dealing with. He could interprimary gun keep, for example. He ain't gonna fuck up that. He gonna make sure that there's award ceremonies and all that kind of thing there. Cool. But he can't do nothing major and dynamic. He can't execute on them levels there. That's the thing. He do basic and he can't good. Boom. Votes.
Yeah, son. What I wanted to say, these ministers, most of them host shows Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and even their supporters. Let me show you something. I get along with everybody, and within most people, I get along with and stuff like that. Even the biggest and toughest supporters feel bad about the hospital and other projects. Till the belly hurt them. Terrible. But they would never call in and tell them that. Nobody in Nevis feel good about the hospital project. Nobody. I just had CFBC, them environmental students come over every year with the lecturers. I take them to different farms and different stuff and give them where to go with the tractors, and then they came on my farm. And they asked me, can we go in the castle and get some more watermelon? I said, me know what I'm talking about. Because they so love, they can't do I know we're going with down there. You think they don't? It's food, brethren. If nobody taking food serious, they have a big thing else coming, because the price of food gonna go sky high in the near future. It done high already, and the higher you gonna get. So these are just willful acts, brethren. Don't make excuse for these people, because they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. These are premeditated things, you know. Nobody destroy food, brethren. And by destroying food, when you have to do your own survival, so the premier going to talk about goat to eat or sheep or eat grass at the Mondo chop. Well, that is more important than 40 acres of food. That ain't important than a greenhouse full up of food. You see, the goat and them good not in there to eat if they have nothing to eat. And if you had a guard there and the place is secured and locked and all these things. And well, so obviously, farmers now cut hole in a fence, you go let in no sheep in them places there. That don't make no sense. You understand? Them is just highfalutin. You understand? That don't make no sense, brethren. People choose to speak and what they want to speak on. And the premier know better too. But me not entertaining things there. You see? But the supporters, them, they feel bad about it, but they can't talk about it. Nobody in Nevis feel good about these things.
I want to stick by you some point. Yeah, son?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we got a situation where me not say that them man can't talk, yeah, but they have to speak with the blessing of the big man, and they get a script. These is the things you could speak about. These are the talking points. Let's go. Ain't necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of evolved in the politics, but you're not getting free thoughts and these type of perspectives. That is not what is taking place. It's monopolized by one man, and that's why I may say you got to work out well. Okay, I see how this person operating now for more than a decade. May I continue try to reach somewhere with this person where we could find a compromise after more than a decade. That when me feel like them are gonna compromise, I'm gonna move on. That's it. If you want to still seek a compromise, go ahead, yeah, son. Cool. Me not say no. But even if there's gonna be a compromise, it ain't gonna be from my end. You got all kind of things. Yo, you know what I hear offensive today? I hear that there was a comprehensive review of cricket in Nevis, and there's gonna be an academy and some kind of new program, and they went through this and they spoke to stakeholders. And me say, what? Nobody asked me no question. Me not even going around a cricket academy in a Nevis. And me sure them not talk to Carlisle either. Them man don't do these type of things. You think it's just in
So,
cannabis it does happen?
so the cricket board don't know about this?
No. Listen, you if you do anything like a so and you don't talk to Carlisle Powell, you're irresponsible. Even if you been asked me and all, I would have still had to say, well, I remember everything. But you got to talk to the man. You got certain people maybe you got to talk to, certain things. You just have to. And it's kind of weird now because they put me and say how people, especially with the bad thing and certain other things, he said, this ain't supposed to got to do with politics. Cricket not supposed to got nothing to do with politics neither. But the man want to do them academy by themselves. Or with those who they have trusted. Anyway, man, them we going nearly till 12, so I need to shut down this thing. So
Yeah.
let's say our
Well,
good nights.
I'm just saying, right here, like,
Mm.
cause like I'm saying, for me, right, my shift has been from really seeking to chastise them politicians so much, because for me, I realize like it's a game, and they know the roles that they're playing, and they're playing it as effective as possible, so that at the end of the day, the objective, which the objective is to win, they are being very effective at that. The masses, the role that they should play, that is the part that I think I am more attuned to right now. That is why I guess my reach with the level of questioning that I am asking is more geared towards them recognizing what their responsibilities should be
Wait
and
there.
should be
Wait
thinking.
there. Hold on, cause
Mhm,
a good with everything what you're saying there. I'm backing you
mhm,
1,000%. The right there at which part me and you can pan the fuck in the road though. Because
mhm,
here's what I would say. Even when you
mhm.
listen to when AI was on, this administration ain't giving you no vibes when it come to certain things. Them I show you this. If part of what make me cut off when I talk about getting on the ministers them, you know how long me a beg Spencer Brown to come on? And I respect Spencer Brown. Watch out, man link up by Ira been come Nevis and Spencer been come by a party. And we sat down, we talk with Spencer, and Spencer said, we're gonna talk up. Because before he talk, he said, listen, we're speaking off the record, None of this gonna reach on the show. I mean, I'm like, come on, you ain't gonna tell me that. Cause I don't even say on the show. I don't really like to talk to politicians. Cause when them man show me what going on, I feel like no, me can run with that. You give me too much of transparency. I rather you stop there and do chauvinist and let me guess. But these man, they ain't coming to the forefront. Since they are not coming to the forefront, my thing is we need a different set of man. Cause even with CCM, hear what me try to tell CCM. All might not be last for But one thing all is last for is Mark Brantley. Ain't happening, Jed. Need something new with that guy there. That's not the man. That can't be the guy. You see what me I say? We need a new voice. We need a new direction. We need new leadership. It cannot be Matt Brantley and this administration. Them man I give you too much of signs will tell you we not working with you. And that is why me I say I be depend too far at the road. Cause you still see
Maybe
some
because
optimism. You still see some optimism as to how you could get a man to work
no,
with you. Me not see
no,
it.
it's not about optimism. So that means you're telling me then we should just accept whatever until whenever, if ever, they move then. Because you said they need to move and the leadership is not it and whatever. But what I'm saying is, if we don't begin to do what we need to do, then based on what is happening at this track record that you're talking about, that will continue. And the end result is because they're so effective of doing what they are doing, that they will win again. So then
You
what we
got
gonna do?
you got two options. You see what
Mhm.
going on with the other you see what going on with the other side, you cultivate your own And you don't cultivate. Look at Banky. Banky not supposed to be around.
No,
So
you
you
don't
don't
need
got a
to. No,
candidate.
you got it
No,
wrong, Alan. You got it wrong. You got
go
it
ahead.
wrong. Here's what I am
Tell me.
saying. I don't have to be taking it from that angle. We, the masses, are the government. We are allowing them
No,
to continue
that
to
is not
divide
true.
us. Along
That is
is
not true.
that is not. We're not the
That is
government.
not true. No,
No, the masses. They're not the government.
no, that's not true.
Okay. Well, see, then I guess that's why we have it wrong then. Because I'm thinking that the masses is the government and we elect these
No,
guys
that's not
as our employees to work for us. And that is why they should be accountable to us. So if
true.
my
No.
interpretation of it is wrong, then I guess that is where I have the issue then. So maybe I need to be
No.
schooled and re-educated on what it should be then.
I wouldn't disagree with you when you say that the government are employees of the people, but I'm not gonna tell you that the masses are the government. That is not fact. That cannot be facts. The government got to be a distinct body within the population that is a representation of the population, but that don't mean that the masses are the government. That can't be facts. That can't be.
So these people who are elected there, what are their responsibilities? Who are they?
They're working for us. Can
Our
we put
highest
them
paid
there to
civil
work for
servants,
us? They're
our
representing
highest
us.
paid civil servants who are being paid by our
Indeed.
taxes.
Indeed.
So how is it that we are not the government? How is it that it's dead end? How they
Can you
become
call them
boss?
bosses? You're calling them bosses. That's what you're
No,
calling
you
them
see, that's
boss.
the reverse psychology. That's the
No,
reverse
no,
psychology that is being used.
no. It's not that. It's not that.
That's
Rasta,
what.
Rasta. The masses are not the goddamn government. What we play? You're trying to play vocabulary game. No, the masses are not the government. I have already said the government is a distinct body who is representative of the masses. But you can't tell me the damn masses is the government. Well, if we go Nevis right now, in no circumstance, and me ask you, who is the government? You're gonna turn around and point to the masses. And
Yeah, well,
that ain't
yeah.
gonna that ain't gonna be how you work. We gonna point to the representative persons who represent the masses. That's it. That's how this thing work. We ain't fighting that, and we ain't playing
So
no
you see,
word
okay,
games.
okay. So okay, all right. So if I am supposed to go by what you are saying, then that is why those people who you claim you are representing, you should be consulting with them before you go to do whatever it is that you claim to be doing, because you're not doing it for you. You're supposed to be doing it for those who you are working for, who happens to be your real bosses, who happens to be the masses. And they are not doing that. So that is why it is imperative that the masses do what they should do. And that is why my argument is not so much with them, because they're doing what you are
Sir,
telling me you expect of them.
sir, I've already gone
Yes,
over
sir.
social contracts. I've already gone
All
over
right.
social contracts. When we're
We
dealing
could
with
carry on.
civilization, okay. When we're dealing with civilization, the masses give up some of their power in order for us to have civilization. That's just part of the gambling. You got to. That's how come when we see police lock up somebody, we don't make the social contract then.
See, Alan,
Police
yes.
police
And
are.
a part of the social contract is also that if you don't like what is going on, you have something that you can do, and it begins with agitating. And so if you're not holding them accountable, remember those people who you elect to represent you will only act if you act, So if you don't if you don't get under pressure, if, like we are saying here, if we don't demand that we hear from these other ministers, if there's not if only me want to say it then, that's why they would say, okay, just like with the cannabis, I remember the former prime minister may say only 80 person a march, so we don't need to go do nothing for 80 people. But if more people get up and start to say, this is what we need, then the government will have to act, sorry, not the government, those elected will have to act, because they know that if this agitation continues with the kind of level that they're seeing, that they could lose votes.
I'm happy you bring in another qualification, but that is what I'm telling you. Rastaman, I don't got the numbers. If you got the numbers, then go ahead. Build your community and I agitate for that. That then I go do it for me. I am done with this thing here, what is going on. I not agitate to nothing. Mr. Premier, you continue to be the honest voice when me hear. The only time I want to hear from the rest of them, man, is on the mark when you're in on the island. Outside of that, you do all the talking. Don't let nobody else do no talking. Don't study your son. You are the greatest. You are the best. You are my goal. Man, Brandy. Yeah, wrap
There's a
up.
late moment. That's it, man. Let me wrap up. And then you that's going to continue. Let me wrap up. Let me just say, just want to thank the general public for coming out on Sunday to support the first ever Man's Fest. It was a good turnout. The people came out in support and buying the fresh fruits and vegetables and mangoes and different stuff. And continued the following Monday for those who didn't get a chance to come out and get some mangoes and sweet potatoes and stuff like that. So everything went well. So we really appreciate that. So the next event coming up will be, we have a melon for next month, but the third week in next month, and melon also in March. But what I'll do, I'll hold back some of the melon them. So in April 6th, the following weekend, after the end of March, you'll have a melon fest. Everything melon juice, melon eating competition and all them stuff. So I'm still harvesting sweet potato. I'll start harvesting some more sweet potato tomorrow. So you'll be able to get, for those who didn't get any sweet potato, they'll get sweet potato. I'll harvest the rest of the week, sweet potatoes and stuff like that. So continue picking mango. You can't get mangoes at the shop. I harvested some. You can get grafted mango by itself. You can get the mixed variety pack with polygrafted mango, Julie mango, long mango, teeny mango, steely mango. So there are mangoes available. Also some sorrel is available and some sweet potato and also lots of pumpkins. So get pumpkins well stocked last, because I have a next set of pumpkin coming in for also on the same time the melon coming in for March, and then we'll have them also as a part of the melon fest with some other vegetables at the same. But the main thing will be the melon. So definitely I really appreciate all those who are coming out and support Shabazar next at Manso's last stop. Really appreciate it, and everything. The shop is up and blooming, and people supporting the farm and coming and getting the tours and stuff like that. So everything is a success. So really appreciate and can't thank you enough. Yes, so I also want to thank you and all those who share anything that is sent out on the social media, and all those who share the post. And big up my daughter Jamila also for doing all the posters and the voiceover and stuff like that. Beautiful job. Couldn't have done a better job. I have a better person to do stuff like that. When you have your children, can just take things in their own hand and update in charge of the social media page and stuff like that. It takes a lot off of me where I can just focus on a lot of other stuff. So really appreciate that. I mean, the work she's been doing, and my Virgin Ounce, and also can't go without bigging up my cousin who runs the shop, Amanis, for doing such a great job. You understand, and holding her own in the shop and doing the sales and stuff like that, and also her sister, Aisha, who come over on the weekends and Saturdays and help with the cooking. Remember, on Saturday and Friday they do home cooked meal, and Saturday get your fungi, caramel and fish and your different meat choices and bake stuff, whether it's pies and all them different stuff. So the shop is up and running good. The farm is more or less well established, and so I just say from start I just continue reaping, still having a lot of sorrel to harvesting through February, and pumpkins and mangoes and the trees then blooming full speed. Yes, on so definitely for June and July you have a lot on here. I might have to have more mango fest too, because the amount of mango, the flowering and the cheese going on is, and carambola, you want carambola, there's so much carambola. Come on, get whatever you have, $1, $2.50, $5, get your half a bag, $10, get your whole shopping bag. Whatever it is, just come, you won't be refused. All right. And so just want to tell, and also coming up this Friday is the Everything Agriculture Show. Alan, enough respect for bringing us and continue partnering with us and being a part of the topics. And people definitely love the link up when we're doing this. And we've been doing it for a while now. And people we definitely look forward for this, and also give thanks for Iroy who coming on board and clearing up a lot of stuff and giving some good insights on what's going on within the commission, the Cannabis Commission and stuff like that. Yes, son?
Yeah, well, give thanks, Banky, for that closing, well summarized. I want to remind folks tomorrow. So I think we probably might have to consider maybe bringing back Alan Friday, at least for a little piece to if anything pops up in the discussion with the Minister of Agriculture tomorrow and the platform with Juni in relation to cannabis. If there's any new thing that we get from there, we might want to tap into Alan for a little bit of time. So Alan, I'll keep you posted tomorrow after listening to the Minister of Agriculture Samuel Duggins on freedom and his presentation, because our focus was cannabis.
It's freedom. It's freedom. Is it freedom? He said.
Yeah.
The next station.
Yeah.
It's freedom.
It's freedom. It's freedom. Yeah, it's freedom. I heard it earlier on today because I was listening to Jamie, and so she did mention that.
All right.
He would be with Juni for a section of the show. I don't think it's going to be all, but he should be on for a part of it. So we look forward to that. Alan, well, before we get back into Alan, the agro-processing workshop that you spoke about, it was Armin Hendrickson, Banky, who's putting on the workshop, which is L's wife. I want to give us some kudos for seeking to give back to the youth, the future generation. I think that is really, really good, a good gesture, seeking to give back, in terms of what you learned and, your skills to the people and so on. We did touch on the Buckley's uprising. So Alan, you had me, zoomed into the press conference today because I listened intently because I know you're a guy who usually come with a lot of, interesting topics. So there are a couple of things that I noted that we didn't really get into, but since you were giving your praises to the Premier and so on, you said he's your goat and all that. He did mention about this clothing company named Southern Tide that is coming to do a photo shoot on Nevis. They did one already, and they returned
fluff.
Talk about
hold on. You feel like the real goat of politics is gonna come and tell you anything about America is proud to have a photo shoot in America? You feel like there's any governor,
they're coming here to do the photo shoot.
I understand all of what you're telling me. Listen, this is not the first time you do it, though. You don't do it with lands and all kind of other. Watch out. One the time I believe you been do it with hands and all. Okay, the man come and then take some pictures and some box out. Wow. Fluff. Is a bunch of this Abby I go see. Abby I go see. Fluff.
He mentioned.
Remember, you can't pay for this advertisement, You can't pay for.
A film focus.
Advertisement.
A group of people coming in to give opportunities for young videographers and film and movie makers and so to get opportunities. We were listed in the Forbes magazine. The Forbes magazine spoke about Nevis. I know you read that out in one of your editions sometime before, Alan. The Brown Folks Connect. Candy Carter seeking to make that connection between the Africans in the diaspora and African, inviting them to come to Nevis and all that. So, some of these things, there was a point there that spoke to the animals. I think when he spoke about the animals in the stray animals, somebody asked about stray animals and so on. One of the things that I would want to suggest as a recommendation is, and I think we do mention that on the program several times, to deal with animal roaming, seek to meet up with the major livestock farmers, seek to encourage them to take their craft as a serious business, offer some fenced paddocks, even if it is going to be at a minimal fee or something, so that the farmers could have, spaces to graze the animals, and then seek to develop a relationship with the abattoir, so that when they take this business seriously, that every week or every 2 weeks or whatever, you could be taking your stuff to the abattoir and making the money from it and so on. So that was just one of my recommendations. But anyway, it's always good to be here with you, Alan, and you always have some very interesting topics, and the engagement is always interesting. So I do look forward to being here with you at the end of the month next month, and give thanks to all of those who logged on via Facebook, YouTube, those who made their comments, and we look forward to having you on the next edition. Enough respect, everybody. Guidance and protection. Enough love.
Yeah, before you go, let me just put in this clip here. Let me big up my virgin Oseki Ojo, a Nigerian producer who is here with his wife Michelle Ojo. He released an album in the UK, and he have my daughter Jamila, which Akila Dashe, that's my daughter right there. She have a song out with his wife Michelle, which is an award songwriter for a lot of different artists. Patti LaBelle and all them and stuff like that, and Wycliffe John and all them stuff. So Jamila had put some pen and paper, and they put it on the album, and the song is right now on Spotify #1 for the whole of last week. What the Wake. So check out Akila Dashe song on Spotify and Oseki Ojo Sounds. Once you Google it, you'll find it. And Michelle Ojo, beautiful song combination, hitting in the US and also playing on the airwaves in England. So Jamila doing big things, and we all know she's been very talented. Well, she's been here, doing stuff and working with the arts and stuff like that. So glad to know. She ended up in the right environment with the people in the industry, and see the talent within her, and just put a pen to paper and her voice and everything. So very proud of her. Nothing less I expected. The talent has always been there, just being surrounded by the right people. So check it out, What the Wait by Akila Dashe. Yes, Alan?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you all next week. Supposed to go up and tell me Thursday. And the rest of my thing, I'll let me know again with Friday.
Yeah, man, you're all
Yeah, hopefully something entertaining happen, man, because the premiere, I'm telling you, like, this is like, all I gonna hear about all year is scholarships, and then we gonna hear about sports, and then we gonna hear about graduation, and then we gonna hear about culture.
The Mango Fest coming up before.
Yeah, I'm gonna hear Mango Fest, and then culture. Yeah, the premiere is getting ready to bore me with all kind of things, and I've seen all kind of old time things. This is what we have achieved, and the biggest violation, and Rasta, this is one of the things like for you to understand why me done with the premiere, why me good. You have a budget in 2024 where you're giving out the budget for 2025. In the budget, you tell me that you put in 12 million at the hospital to restart the project, and you want to complete the project in 2025, and you tell me, don't worry, I'm 100% committed. You come 8 weeks later, at the time when you tell me you're going to give me an update, you talk for goddamn 1 hour and a half, 90 minutes, and you talk about all kind of thing, all kind of thing. And you don't mention nothing about the hospital. You got to wait till somebody asks you about the hospital, and your update is that you're not gonna update. Still waiting for the report. So these are things what me I tell you. I understand a bullshit. Me good. Me satisfied. Me no need no more. Me a pay attention. But I don't have any prospects. I feel like if you say a road gonna finish, the road gonna finish. If you say you're gonna charge Nevis people extra money, you better believe you're gonna collect them. But when it come to how these things are gonna finish for the betterment, me not know how that ever happen. We shall see. Good night, everybody, and I'll be gonna hopefully see you in February.
Yes, I.
Listen, I'm supposed to shut down the show now, so me try
Yes, I.
log on the computer now and get this thing. Let me see what we could do. Yeah, so.
Stream. Look. But in the meanwhile, let me just say again, thanks all those who come out and continue supporting Shabazz Organics and Mansell's Last Stop and coming out and looking forward for the next event. On April 6th, the Melon Fest post will be out. And so at least you all keep that in mind. Got Melon them already start to run, train out vines looking good. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll start flowering. And then by the end of March, definitely they'll be ready to start harvesting. And then the following Sunday, usually keep it on a Sunday so everybody can come out the house and a Sunday afternoon come out and have an. Alan, when you're ready, you know, me run me out to look to organize the thing.
Boy, Panam, me try to find out when me supposed to go.
Look for stream. Look up in the stream area, which and then that's where you find it. Look up in the stream area.
Just up in this stream area.
Yeah, streaming. You have to shut down the streaming live. Come on out.
Mother, you know, I see Daniel and Tafari's plant nursery. You know, continue to take care of the plants and take care of yourself. And, you know, folks, you know, take a visit to Fountain and, you know, check out Silma's
Still await your son. Still await.
Right. Yeah,
Still await your son.
Out. We got to get that figure out. We definitely got to get that figure out. So
people are asking,
you know, yeah.
But definitely, come on out tomorrow. Get your mangoes, variety pack, grafted mangoes. Gonna pick some Emmy tomorrow. See how much I get off the tree. And you'll get 3 for $5. Definitely, same with grafted mango, 3 for $5. US mangoes them will be $1 each. We have lots of regular pali, very sweet. Seedy them getting down and the Julie, but you have a lot of Julie mangoes, regular pali, and you'll get a few Pali in the meanwhile. And pumpkin still available. Also, you always still the farm tours and the workshop coming up for this next month, February, will be an backyard gardening and small spaces, and I'll let that one be hosted by the Virgin Ounce, Irvin Weeks. I mean, he'll do that section when it comes to backyard gardening. I think I might let him partner with Mol. He and Mol kind of controlling the small space, so that'll be a good combination when it comes to utilizing the small space and stuff. The space is too small, and I want to encourage those the young ones, both male and female, and now realize that a lot of young people have been listening and practicing the craft when it comes to cannabis, and I want to encourage them to continue learning and growing the herb, because this is something that's going to be needed right now. So don't give up. Continue putting in the good works, and those who have that interest in growing their own food, you can always visit the farm or contact the agriculture department or contact me myself, and I'll give you the guidance that is needed. It's easier to send me a WhatsApp because in the daytime it's difficult to get me when the phone is ringing. Otherwise, I can't get nothing done. So send a WhatsApp message, and then I can always reach back out and answer the message and stuff like that. So it's instead of just ringing the phone, because I can't be answering the phone when I'm busy doing the work. I'll let anything work out.
No, but I know one thing we do.
Do what you gotta do.